What's going on, everybody? Hello, and welcome back to another episode of The Watchable with me, Jean-Luc Welch. Make some noise, clap it up, get excited wherever you are. And we are here right at the start of the Grand Rivals for one of the biggest boxing events of the year, probably in the decade, without the cards been looking, with Bivol versus Beterbiev. That is right, we are here to break down all the fights of the night. Oh, with a stacked card, we gotta dedicate the whole show specifically to that card, because I tell you what, it is going to be something that is spectacular. You don't want to miss what we got to offer. You don't want to miss exactly what we had to bring to the table. Oh, we're going to break down all the major fights of the night. Bivol, Beterbiev, Shakur Stevenson versus Floyd, Schofield. Also going to cover the likes of Big Bang, Zhang versus Kabayel. Your predictions and reactions to all the news, both in and outside, or within the ring, that's going to happen. Also outside in the grand landscape of the boxing world. We got a whole bunch of stuff to cover. And thank you for tuning in and listening to the show. And please, if you would, leave a like on the video, comment your thoughts and opinions, subscribe to the channel, and share the show with everybody that you know, so we can keep on building up this empire together. And we got so much in store for you today. Like I said before, started at this time, not because we started late, but because we wanted to try to get involved with the grand rivals for the great crescendo. That is right. Again, Bivol versus Beterbiev is this weekend. One of the most action-packed, jam-packed cards that we've ever seen in the past decade. Some people are saying it's the most stacked card ever. And in fact, that might just be the first topic that we talk about as we go through. Again, we're going to break down all the fights. Don't get it twisted. We're going to get your opinions. And don't forget, at the end of the show, we will have the championship rounds of whatever you want to discuss. We can talk about it right here on the show. Oh, and also don't forget, please comment your chats in the chat below. Comment your comments, in the chat below. We can keep on breaking them up, just like right here on your lunch break. Checking in, Preacher Man, how you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. Jay Riggs and also Rusty Cage, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in. We got so much to cover in a short amount of time to do it. Again, we're not gonna go over time like we normally do on a lot of our shows. So we're gonna actually try to keep this as quality and discreet, or quality driven as possible, because we got a lot to cover. So might as well, let's jump into the show right now. We got boxing to cover. So since we're talking about boxing, it is time to step into the ring. That's right. Ring the bell. Let's get it started. Round one of this action-packed show going underway. Action first. Let me see what people got in the comments below. Hey, how's it? Oh, over excuse me. Y'all are talking to each other. My apologies. My goodness. Oh, wait, hold on. Wait a minute. Zhang keeps coming out in the next Mortal Kombat. Oh, is he back in the game? Let me see. Hold on. How's it going, kids? Remind me. I can't wait to see Johnny Cage come out on the next Mortal Kombat. Oh. Are they already making a new Mortal Kombat game, or are we talking about the Mortal Kombat movie? If we're talking about a new Mortal Kombat movie, my gosh, Now I'm excited because the first one was incredible. But we're talking about another game of Mortal Kombat coming out. My gosh, they're coming out with whoa, wait a minute. They're coming out with a new movie? Oh, shoot. My gosh. I'm excited. Shoot. A couple years too late, if I'm being completely honest, because the first one, the momentum, well-received reviews, the action, the gore, as well as the legitimate story and the way they handle the characters, hey, not bad. Not bad from what I was expecting. Wish they came out with a new one sooner, but hey, I'm excited to see it. I can't wait. I can't wait to see who they cast for Johnny Cage. But again, all that we got to talk about it later. We got to talk about it later. Because we got boxing right now. So let's jump into the fray, shall we? With this card, before we even get into the fights, let's talk about the card as a whole. One of the things that we see, that we talk about when it comes to this whole boxing last crescendo, is this a legitimate situation? Would you deem this as one of the greatest cards we've seen in boxing history? Bar none, genuine. And we say that because we've seen some critiques, we've seen some people in the chat, even on this show. We've seen some people in the comments throughout the entirety of this page and on Twitter. Everybody says the boxing's done. Everybody's saying that, oh, this ain't nothing special. We have to really look at this and say, no, this, with the amount of main event type talent, what would normally be, half of these names would be main eventers on their own card. They would be the headliners for their own specific card. You have 6 headline events that will normally take up all their own space, their own night. All of them within one night. This is something we've never seen before in the boxing regime. Not to this degree, not to this level, not to this extent, where normal heavy hitters aren't even leading off the night. It is legitimate. And again, Rusty Cage, you're right. On paper, this is the greatest card that we've ever seen on paper. This is genuinely, it's a dream. It's a dream. Let's be real. It's a dream. This is something we never expected to happen. When we look at the grand scheme of the boxing world, we never thought that we would ever get to this point. We thought it would be a laughing stock in terms of what the normal sport would be. Now, to see something like this, it's incredible. And it's only $25. Mark my words, if this keeps up, this will help fast track the ability for boxing to get back into the limelight of the not just the American conscience, but the global acclaim that it used to be when it was one of the big 3 sports in not just America, but in the globe. Genuine. Oh gosh, it's insane. It's incredible. Just real quick, just wanted to touch on how we'll say unconventional is the right word. How laughable this concept would have been roughly 5 years ago. Because nobody would have said we would have gotten a card this qualitative for the amount of price and for the legitimate talent that's on it. It's incredible. I'm just excited. What do you think about Shakur's grip strength test? And do you think it makes a difference to boxing? Well, funny you asked that, because now that we got these fights underway, we're about to get into the fights. And shoot, the first one we were going to get into, because I know it was a hot button issue, we're going to get into Shakur versus Floyd Schofield. So without further ado, let's not waste time, shall we? Let's get right into it. Let's get down and dirty. Let's start talking about the fights itself, starting first and foremost with Shakur versus Floyd Schofield. That is, we may go a little bit out of order, but regardless of which, one of the third quote-unquote biggest fight on the card, of course, followed up by Dubois versus Parker, and then Bivol versus Beterbiev. But with Shakur versus Floyd Schofield, let's talk about the grip strength in the fight as a whole. Hotly contested affair, 2 of the most high-touted lightweights in the world. Floyd Schofield undefeated, Shakur Stevenson undefeated. Floyd Schofield, I believe, 12, 15 knockouts to his name with 22 fights on his resume. Shakur Stevenson, undefeated 3-time champion, 3-division champion, one of the best technical boxers that we've seen in the whole of this whole boxing regime. Now that we're here with 2, essentially whoever wins this most likely gets elevated immensely. This is a quality fight between 2 young, prime, and still, they can still get better. But even right now, it's the right time, right place, right moment. Let's make it happen. But when we talk about the breakdown of the fight specifically, how is it that this fight is going to go, and will grip strength take precedent? Is this going to be a legitimate concern? Now, Jay Riggs, you bring up grip strength. You bring up the test. If you haven't seen it, the ring did a whole, or it was either the ring or the zone, did a whole bunch of stuff with their boxers, some fun games and stuff, kind of test their abilities, test their skills. It's a fanfare, media acclaim, or media presence, per se. One of the things with the grip strength. Test your grip. Test how strong your wrist and fist are when it comes to all of your competitors in the same card. Daniel Dubois had 86 kilograms. Zhang at 76. I think Kabayel had like 74, 73. And then we get to Shakur, who, of everybody, had a grip strength of 34. Now, that sounds horrendous. Does it? That sounds ridiculous. That sounds absolutely horrible for somebody who is a boxer. Their goal is to literally clinch and punch. That's one of the biggest techniques in boxing. Clinch your fist right at the point of impact. Maximum velocity, and adds to the level of poignant power. Good technique. And he came out the lowest of everybody. Since that's the case, does this take precedent? Now, what does grip strength do? Grip strength allows for you to be able to not just protect your wrist, but also have the ability to be able to have a legitimately consistent punch or power in your punches for all fight long. Now, that doesn't mean that, now, grip strength can also equate to more power, but it also equates to sustaining power. The longer and more tight-knit you can clench your fist throughout the tenure of the fight, helps your ability to retain your power and pop, and to also be able to continue to punch correctly all fight long. Hence why Beterbiev, George Foreman, Joe Frazier, and others all had immense grip strength. Though they didn't necessarily test it, quote unquote, but that's one of the biggest reasons why they could carry their power all 12 rounds. Now, and how seemingly they're able to indeed go in again and still dominate even in the later stages of the round. Not just because of physical capabilities. Grip strength does take effect, and grip strength helps protect the hands. Now, when it comes to protecting hands and power, well, Shakur Stevenson is nowhere close to that in the slightest. That brother is legitimately bad off. When it comes to, we've seen the damage, we've seen the legitimate pain, we've seen the constant ability getting a body shot hurt Shakur's wrist. We can understand a shot over the head, but a body shot hurt him, and it got everybody saying, well, should we be surprised? Absolutely not. Should we be at all shocked by this? No. This is Shakur. It's nothing new. We completely understand it. But what we should understand is what that means for this fight. And that means that Floyd has a better opportunity to win rather than just, knocking him out. There's a legitimate argument, and now there is another option rather than just trying to see if you can box with them, which we know that can't happen, or B, brawl out up until you actually catch him, which again is incredibly difficult because we know who Shakur is. Now there is a third option that we can see Shakur lose in this fight against Floyd Schofield, and that is pressure, and not just pressure trying to land. Force Shakur to throw. Legitimately. Force that brother to throw. And we didn't think that was going to be possible. But now, with this, not just the grip strength, but the history that we see Shakur have, force him to throw. Force him to get at. Force him to have to fight. Force him to have to fight. Yeah, you're going to get pot shotted most likely. Yeah, you're going to get countered. Sure, his elusive footwork, his distance management, again, he is I don't care what anybody says, he is a great defensive fighter. But it's going to be hard to outbox him. But if you make him useless by forcing him to have to connect to get you off him, forcing him to have to connect in order to have an opportunity, in order to get that distance, forcing him to have to be able to throw something in order to still stay safe like he always wants to do, instead of only using his feet, only using his legs, and only using his defensive management and incredible IQ and ring generalship. Forcing to have to throw as a required option to be able to escape and retain what you want. Now you can make that brother potentially injure his hands again, potentially hurt himself, potentially cause self-inflicted damage due to the inability to have the wrist structure, have the grip strength, have the integrity inside your fist to be able to legitimately go all night long. And now, there is a way. Now he only becomes a defensive. Now he becomes similar to what happened against De Los Santos. Oh, we all remember that fight, don't we? We remember that fight. One of the worst fights of the year.
Hey, look at this.
We had a problem.
We got some problems here.
We had a major problem. Oh, it was horrible. Oh, it was terrible. We all remember that fight. One of the worst fights of the year. Couldn't stand it. I almost fell asleep watching it. It was so incredibly bad. It did a lot of damage to his reputation as a boring fighter, which he was already ruminating as a stigma of his. Now, stuck and legitimate. Oh, nobody wants to see his brother fight. But the one thing that De Los Santos couldn't do that made that fight so boring, even though, yes, Shakur was running around, though his hands were injured, he couldn't cut off the ring. Let's not forget that. De Los Santos could not cut off the ring. He could not get Shakur into a corner on a consistent basis. He could not make it so that Shakur always had to engage. And so because of that, it's made for a boring fight. Yes, Shakur did run. Yes, Shakur was incredibly more defensive than I've ever seen him in his career. But it's also your responsibility, if you want to turn it into a fight, make it so that the man has to face you head on by legitimately going about cutting off the ring, cutting off angles, and making an opponent have to engage, rather than you only having to chase. And that's where Shakur can be in trouble. Because one thing that we see with Floyd Schofield, yes, he's not as good of a boxer. Yes, he's not nearly as talented in terms of technically. Yes, he doesn't have the level of ring IQ, all that stuff. But he's got power, and he's got athleticism. And what I can see from him, hopefully, this brother's smarter than De Los Santos, and is actually able to cut off the ring when it comes to being in the midst of catching an elusive target. And if he can do that, we got ourselves a legitimate opportunity that we can see Floyd Schofield get the upset, get the win. Actually, like it's actually possible. And it's beyond just having power. It's beyond just, catching Shakur. You corner Shakur all fight long and force him to have to throw. You then force that brother to risk damaging his hands even more. You force that brother to risk re-aggravating injuries. You force him to risk having the ability to not be able to use one of his weapons anymore. And now he becomes a sitting duck. The only thing is that duck can still run. What you got to do, you got to make it so that you cage the duck, cut off the field, essentially build a dam. Stop and block his ability to utilize the whole of the ring. Then your aggression can legitimately take hold. Because at that point, because he can't throw, you can only dodge for so long. And now, you can put him in some real trouble. You can put him in some real dire straits that has him asking not only questions about himself, but asking questions about his own durability. Because now that you can't get away because you are indeed caught, and you have no weapons to use because hands potentially get injured again, shoot. It ain't out the question. It really isn't out the question. I'm not saying that it's going to happen. I'm saying it's a possibility. Now, we got a lot of people commenting. Oh my gosh. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, shoot. Wait a minute. Oh, we got a lot of people commenting. Wait a second. Hold on. Let me see. The reason I'm asking for the Mayweather had fragile hands and strength too, but still known as one of the all-time greats. Absolutely. And no question. He is one of the all-time greats. And in the second half of his career, hands got brittle, couldn't use them, had to box. No question about it. Absolutely. But the question is Shakur Floyd? And no, that's not the case. And even when Floyd later on in his career was indeed at that stage where, he had to box in order to still fight. He had to become incredibly defensive. We understand that completely. But Floyd, even with that, would still stand in front of you. Floyd, even with that, would smother and stop offense without having to use and run for the entirety of the time. No, he was a great boxer. People just didn't like and called it running. But Floyd and Shakur is completely different. I could watch Floyd all day long because he could stand in the pocket, even with his brittle hands, and still give you work. Still pot shot you, sting you, legitimately counter you without having to take nothing but a half step back and not even having to use the ropes all the time. That's what he did. That's what he could do. That's what made him so great. That's what made him so phenomenal. Shakur We didn't see that. Last time he was in a really dire situation against a heavy-handed puncher at an elevated weight class. Yes, beat Jamal Herring. Phenomenal. Beat Oscar Valdez. Phenomenal. Became a 3-time champion. No issue there. I'm not disparaging him. No way. It's respectable what he's done in his career. But also now, this is one of the most fit, not even one of, this is outside of De Los Santos. This is probably the most physically imposing and gifted fighter that has the athleticism to do everything that we say can beat Shakur Stevens. Genuinely, outside of De Los Santos. So, because of that, yes, Floyd didn't need grip strength. Neither does Shakur. But with Shakur, unlike Floyd, we haven't seen him tested to the degree that what can you do when you got to fight through the pain? The last time we saw him have to fight through the pain was De Los Santos. And what happened? Messed himself up. He did it somewhat against Harutunian, but even still, he would, like we talked about before, he could have done more against Harutunian, but he willingly didn't, because in every situation in his mind, everything is danger. You're hurt. If you're hurt, you're a dangerous opponent. If you're healthy, you're a dangerous opponent. So why mitigate any risk when I can just make sure to just win the night, not end the night? And yes, winning is the ultimate thing, but how you win also impacts not just the fans, but also impacts your ability to some degree. When it gets down the line, how deep are you going to dig when you're only willing to do just enough? And that's what Shakur wants to do, just enough. His own words. That's not me trying to speculate. That's him. That's what he said. So because of that, going up against Floyd, there is a real opportunity that we can see Floyd Schofield get this up to. I'm so serious. I'm so serious. And excuse me. Okay, so he was 33. Drifting was 33, not 34. Equivalent to a 19-year-old girl. And was he faking strength to blow smoke? I don't think he was faking strength. I don't think so. Again, he's a big kid, but I don't think you can fake your ability grip-wise. I mean, you can, but does it help? Would it help? Would it make sense? Because he already isn't somebody that has a whole lot of power. We all know this. He knows this. His own fighting style isn't mitigated on power, so I don't think that would be something that he would need to lie about. Physically, yeah, he's a big guy. It's just punch-wise, nah. He just ain't. Also, Justin Kemp, hold on, wait a minute, hold on. Justin Kemp, what's up with that? How you doing? Glad to see you. Thank you so much for tuning in to the show. My gosh, I really got to get better at seeing the comments as they come into play. I'm so sorry. I'm hoping Kid Austin runs through Stevenson. That may happen. And running through may just be the best way that we see Shakur lose. Because when it comes to the likes of Kid Austin, use that aggression to force him into a situation where he's got no choice but to throw. Legitimately. And make him have to risk injuring himself in order to get you off. Then with the ability for you to cut off the ring, and if you can't cut off the ring, and mitigate the ability to have Shakur use the whole ring. Now, go to the body, utilize your power, and land on anything. Do the Rocky Marciano method. Land on anything and see how the breakdown process works. Because Rocky Marciano, it wasn't that he was a great technical boxer. It was the fact that he was strong as an ox. And what he knew how to do was hit whatever was in front of him. And it broke down the opponent, made them not be able to throw, made them not be able to genuinely get the offense off. And then bing, bang, boom. Eventually, you're broken and you are open for me to hit you. Wear him down. It's going to be tough with Shakur. But that's going to be the best way to win. Outside of just outright cracking and seeing what happens when that power does land. Make it so that you at this point, you can't outbox him. You got to turn it into a fight and use your athleticism to really make Shakur have to work and face it. I'm not talking about just running. There's a difference in being in the ring with an athletic person and facing athleticism. You got to make Shakur face you. You got to make him have to work. That's going to be your best bet. And you do that by the later rounds. Even if you're down, there's an opportunity you can win and bounce back. Because then Shakur can't throw. And if he can only rely on running at that point, he might, and you can properly cut off the ring, he could be in trouble. It could be in trouble. That just tells me that if Shakur versus Pitbull, that if Shakur versus Pitbull, then I guess were to happen, I know for a fact Pitbull's hard head was going to give Shakur a hand injury. Yes, that's the thing. Make him. If you got to take shots, take shots. I'm not saying you need to. I'm not saying that's the best way to do it. But if he's going to land, okay, he's going to land. Most likely he's not going to crack you. If he surprises you, okay, hey, wow. But regardless of which, yeah. If Shakur fought against Pitbull and he landed on that hard hitter hitting that high guard, my gosh, shoot. Talk about some damage. I think didn't Tank break his wrist on the top of Isak's head? Didn't he break the wrist on top of Pitbull's head in that fight? Or did he come into the fight with the injured hand? I'm trying to remember. But regardless of which, I mean, shoot. That's the nature of the beast. Genuinely, that's the nature of the beast. But for my prediction, boxing sense, I would say that Floyd should lose. No question about it. Boxing sense, I should say that Floyd Schofield is going to lose this fight. He's going to get outboxed. He won't be able to cut out the ring. He won't be able to genuinely make Shakur have to face him head on. And all that athleticism, just like with De Los Santos, he's going to fall flat. Potentially. But something in the back of my mind has me thinking that I think he can pull off the upset. Genuine. Something in the back of my mind has me thinking I think Shakur can legitimately lose this fight. I'm so serious. Excuse me while I take a drink. And it's because of the fact that with Shakur and Floyd, while we know Floyd is nowhere close to the talent level, if he knows how to use his athleticism correctly, we can genuinely see him beat him. I truly do believe it. I truly do. And because of that, it is possible. Because if you can properly use your athleticism, that is as close as we've seen to match the likes of Shakur when it comes to speed and when it comes to agility and explosiveness, he's got that. So we can say what you want about Floyd Schofield as a boxer, but physically he's got those capabilities. It's real. Punch speed, explosiveness, ability to dip in and get inside. Speed on his hooks and uppercuts, even on his jab, is deceptively fast, faster than many people expect once they get in the ring. I think it's not out the question. Not out the question at all. And so because of that, I'm going against my gut. But I'll say that he gets the upset. I genuinely think so. I'll say he does. I'll say Shakur Stevenson gets upset by Floyd Schofield and loses this fight. I'm probably going to be wrong. I'm most likely going to be wrong. But I really do believe that that's what's going to happen. I genuinely think that's what's going to happen in my estimation. And if I'm wrong, hey, I'm wrong. Absolutely. And y'all can flame me, berate me, do whatever you want. But let's see what people have to say. Let's see, same here. Okay, y'all in your own conversation. Okay, styles make fights, and that's crazy. Because De Los Santos, yeah, and De Los Santos is good. De Los Santos is great. He's not a bad boxer. But it's just his style and physicality could have helped him out immensely. But because he couldn't cut off the ring, he got frustrated. And because he got frustrated, he started complaining to the ref, started looking to the crowd, saying that, hey, the brother ran, he did run. But it's also your job. It takes two to tango. And if you are going to make a difference when it comes to the words of Shakur, you're truly going to make an impact. Brother, you got to make it so that you force him to fight. And that means cut off. The biggest thing is to cut off the ring. You do that. You got an opportunity. Harringtonian cut off the ring better than De Los Santos. And that's insane to say. But it's the truth. And so because of that, we need to see Floyd take that same approach. And if we can, there is a legitimate opportunity that we can see him upset Shakur Stevenson. And I'll pick him to upset him. Genuinely, I will. I'm probably going to be wrong. But if I'm right, my gosh, it's going to be because he forced Shakur to have to fight him off. And that could be a very bad sign. He could very well get outboxed, no question. But there is a proposition. Pitbull just didn't want a boring fight with Shakur running, so he moved on. And yeah, I agree. Duke's Ryle is he's good. No, he is good. But he's good. Isaac Cruz is good. Probably didn't want a boring fight with Shakur. I still think he should have taken the fight, but regardless of which, Ryo, I think it fell under the radar because of the star power and the legitimate, again, just knocked out Rolly Romero, just became a champion, and is still riding off the high of that fight with Gervonta Davis, doing better than we all expected, kind of placing him on the map. So yeah, Ryo went under the radar for his ability. But no, that brother, hey, he can fight. He can fight and he can take a punch. Let's be real. He can fight and he can take a punch. That brother's good. He is legitimately good. Floyd was an extreme clincher. If the referees did their job, his fights would have gone differently. Well, no. So clinching was the aspect of his game, yes. But he wasn't an extreme clincher. He would use it. Oh, don't get me wrong. Yes, he would. However, don't gloss over the fact you take away that clinching ability. Even still, he was almost unhittable. It was incredible. One of the most accurate fighters in history. One of the most keeping his opponents to the lowest percentages. One of the lowest percentages punch accuracy wise in boxing history. What his savantism at the defensive game and at reading and predicting was incredible. And the clinching wasn't just, to clinch to stop momentum. He would clinch and reset, clinch and put you where he wanted you to be, clinch and walk you or bait you into making a move. And then disengage, score, get back, and force you to have to do the dance all over. It was incredible. So I don't rock with the claim that he was just a clincher and clinching was everything. Again, incredibly defensive and would use the clinch. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't so egregious that it would just it would have changed. It would have changed everything if we couldn't clinch at all. If we couldn't clinch at all, he would still be a great fighter. He still would be, because he was just that good. He was just that good. Yes. You see referees, remember Mayweather had his own personal referee, just one. Who was his personal referee? I don't know about that. Maybe, if it's an inside joke, maybe I'm not privy to it, but he had his own personal referee? Did he? Shoot. Maybe I need to go back and look at my boxing history. That's news to me. I asked about the faking his strength because he is a lefty and he uses his right hand. Okay. Understandable. Sorry about it. Understand. My gosh, I really got to catch up on this stuff. Okay, we got to read quick. Okay, faking strength, use his left hand. Yes, did use his left hand. Right hand, I don't think it's going to be any better because I still think he would be good, not strong. Not at the highest, I say, okay, 50, 55 kilograms. We want to go, I don't know what the pounds are, but we'll go that way if it's his dominant hand because we get weaker, stronger. Understand. Even still, it's still same thing. Wouldn't have been nearly as strong in my estimation. And so, good gosh, oh boy, y'all are going in on Floyd. Y'all are really, shoot, what happened with Floyd? My gosh, wait a second. All of a sudden, why is everybody yelling at, what? Hold on, wait a minute. Wait a second, hold on. Everyone's crying, let's see, everyone's crying rigged because the referee called in favor for the Chiefs, but does that work for having the same referee for every fight? 50-0? You got 50 excuses. 49 and not. It's so much going on. Okay, hold on. You know what? Since we're here, real quick, we can take a detour. We still got a long show. We can have some fights to cover. Let's talk about Floyd. Might as well, because all of a sudden we go with the ebbs and flows of the show. Absolutely, we go with the ebbs and flows of the show. Let's talk about Floyd, because it seems like the biggest gripe right now is his record and his legitimate talent. Because it's been, my goodness. I mean, and it's, shoot. We got people talking about Conor McGregor doesn't count. The loss to Castillo that should have been a loss, but wasn't a loss. Let's go over his career just real quick, since we're incredibly high right now on the Floyd train, whether it's level or 8. In my opinion, Floyd Mayweather is a brother who is indeed 50-0, got the record. Is there an asterisk? Absolutely. Should he have fought Conor McGregor? Absolutely not. Could he have fought people like Keith Thurman and others? Yes. Would have been plenty of other prospects, even if they weren't top contenders, that he should have and could have fought. Absolutely. Did that start the trend that we see now for these spectacle fights, like with Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, like with Tyson Fury versus Ngannou? Tyson Fury and Ngannou versus AJ. Misfits boxing and all the other likes. Yes, unequivocally. Did it help the sport bringing more eyes to it? Absolutely. Did it hurt the sport? Absolutely. Is Floyd Mayweather still one of the greatest in history? Yes. No question. Is Floyd Mayweather going to go down as one of the practitioners of this great game that everybody should be studying to understand the sweet science? No question about it. Is he the greatest of all time? No, and he will never be. But does that diminish what he is as a boxer at its core? No, it should not. Does that help put things into perspective a little bit? Because it's a lot. It's a lot. That brother brings up some very volatile feelings for some people. It really does. He really do. Let's see. Cool. Let me get my words together. What I did now, the great thing about, what I didn't know the great thing about Floyd is you can never fight him twice and expect it to be close because Floyd processes data to whoop your next fight. And yes, absolutely. Oh no, what you didn't know, excuse me. I'm sorry, what you didn't know. And yes. The biggest thing, and you can, whatever you want about the losses that he should have had, about the fights that shouldn't have happened, about the instances with his career that we all lament, robberies and whatnot. The thing is, you indeed could not fight him a second time. That's true. That's absolutely true. When it came to the world of Floyd, brother, he did lose to Castillo that first time. Oh, no question. And that was the most complete loss you could have of any other close fight in his career. From the punch test as well as looking at the fight itself. No question about that. However, the brother immediately rematched and took him to school. Maidana. Close fight. Hotly contested. Some people felt that Maidana should have won. Others felt that Floyd should have won. Floyd won and then ran it back immediately. Beat him. Every opponent that Floyd faced off against, if it was a close fight, did not waste time getting his get back. Did not waste time going back in the ring and proving that, yeah, I'm better than you, which we love that. I have no problem with it. That's great. That's incredible. That is spectacular when it comes to the world of boxing. If it's a close fight, give us the rematch. Show us that you really indeed are the best. Prove that that first win wasn't a fluke, and he did that every time. Every single time. Doesn't mean that he didn't avoid some people. Doesn't mean he didn't fight people at the right time. And in many situations during the second half of his career. Doesn't mean that in the slightest. That doesn't take away anything. But that is the truth. He went and fought everybody. And see, you forgot how he retired to avoid the Oscar rematch. Did he retire? Did he retire to? Let me think. He retired to avoid the Oscar. Did he retire to order? Oh, maybe he did. Maybe he did. Shoot, high possibility. High possibility. Again, I'm not agreeing concretely because I don't want to. I can't. I'm trying to remember exactly that whole situation. But hey, if that did happen, again, we've seen that happen not just with him but with other boxers before. So I'm not putting it out the question. Now, do I remember concretely of that happening? No. But because I don't remember wholeheartedly, I can't say whether it's true or false. But what I do know is that, like I said, we have established the man fought some people at the right time. Fought people like Manny Pacquiao 5 years too late. He took business over legacy when fighting like Conor McGregor. And so it's like we're looking at a situation where all that is still true about him, what he did. Doesn't change the fact of what his talent is and what his greatness is, which is indeed incredible. And so Loma retired before Tank. And I love Loma, and I hope he come back. Now, what for this situation with Lomachenko, what I know concretely is that Loma did want to fight Tank. And we covered this before. We've covered this in past episodes before. Also, if you would, leave a like on the stream if you haven't already. Phenomenal show. We still got so much stuff to break down, and we're being so diverse with the topics. I love it. This would be great. This is phenomenal. Everybody needs to see what we got going on right here. But when it came to Floyd, Tank, and Loma, that whole triangle of action that never actually happened. It was, and we covered this on the show, Floyd Mayweather was over the likes of, over the career of Gervonta Davis, guiding him and leading him early on. Remember that. He was the one that openly said in a press conference when Tank was asked about Lomachenko, I believe this was after the Pedraza wins, after the Leo Santa Cruz wins, and after having the ability to go and be like, okay, yeah, he's one of the biggest stars now. Will you fight Loma? Tank was like, or Floyd was like, you don't need that right now. You're making money, making bank. You don't need to go through that process. You don't need to fight him right now. Keep on the track that you're on. You don't need him yet. Loma, champion, best in the world at that point in time, wanted him. It wasn't like Loma was ducking him at that point. Then Tank gets from under the likes of Floyd. Shakur tied up with Teofimo Lopez, I believe. Or maybe that was after. Either way, either between the time that Tank left and Loma lost to Teo, there was a window when it was available that Tank and Loma could have fought. And Loma was still open to it. He never shot down the fight. It was Tank that consistently went the other direction with fights that weren't not just big fights, but outside of the Ryan Garcia fights that weren't Lomachenko, that made all the sense in the world. If anything, fighting Lomachenko after the likes of Ryan Garcia would have made sense, but didn't happen on Tank's side, not on Loma's side. Not because Loma ducked Tank. And I'm not saying Tank ducked Loma, but with the way that Tank was going about, there was plenty of boxers that we were saying he needed to fight and he wasn't getting in the ring with. And so that, again, speaks to the partner we've been having with Tank about his career as a whole. And while the whole all-time great conversation with him is quickly diminishing into nothingness. Since that's the case, now with Lomachenko and Tank, with Lomachenko retiring, never fighting the likes of Gervonta Davis, remember, Tank came out and said, hey, Loma didn't duck me. Because I understand what he's going. This is Tank's own words. You can look it up. Tank said Loma didn't duck me because in all actuality, I get what's going on. It's hard for him to get up for any fight at this stage in his career. Not just me, but for anybody. So no, he didn't duck me at this point in time in his career. Yeah, but it's hard for him to get motivated, hard for him to get excited, hard for him to get up for a fight. And so by Tank's own volition, he's saying Loma didn't duck me. And so now, interesting to see what people have to say now that Tank's the one saying that. Not me, not other pundits, not other outside sources or whatever the case may be. I'm not trying to spin narratives. Strictly going off of what the facts that have been stated by the people themselves. Or if we're talking about action in the ring, by what they show inside the ring. I ain't got no narrative. I ain't got no spin in the fight. I ain't got no hand in the game. All I want to do is see the best fights go at it. So, because that's the case, that's what happened. That is indeed what happened. For me, let's see. I gotta go, my brother. Sorry, Dukes. I thought this was I hate this walkthrough, but we just spitting the facts and look at Mayweather's favorite referee, and I think it's Baylor. Okay, I'll look it up so I can make sure. I'm sorry. When it comes to that, I gotta get more acclimated when it comes to the more intricate parts of Floyd's career. I know a lot. Don't get me wrong, but now, oh shoot, I didn't know he had a favorite referee. I'll look it up. I appreciate you coming in, Jay Riggs. Anybody else who comes in to the show, please leave a like before you leave. And we still got so much more to talk about on this show. As we took a quick detour through the likes of Floyd's career, which got a lot of people hot and heavy. Now, let's jump into the bigger fights of the night that are happening this weekend, like with Israil madrimov versus Virgil Ortiz. Oh my gosh. Talk about an incredible affair. Talk about an incredible display. Talk about a legitimate situation that's going to have fire fights galore. This may be genuinely fight of the night because of what Virgil and Madrimov bring to the table. Again, Madrimov, I believe is 11, is either 10-1 or 11-1. Again, only loss was to Terrence Crawford. Virgil Ortiz undefeated, I believe 33-0, 30 KOs in his career. In fact, let me make sure that I have that correct, so I'm not giving you all any terrible. Excuse me, I'm sorry, 22, not 32-0, I'm sorry, 22-0, 21 KOs. One of the best knockout artists at super welterweight at 154. legitimately had his fight of the year candidate against Bochuk, now going up against Israil Madrimov. This looks to be this could be genuinely fight of the night. Because with Israil Madrimov, incredibly hard to hit, incredibly awkward and strange, is incredibly off rhythm, has explosiveness, is strong, got some power to him, and got some speed, can close the distance incredibly quickly, has the ability to go off angle and punch and use not just different rhythms, but also use different against you, foot feints, body feints, hand feints, every type of feint imaginable to get you to bite and make a mistake to then boom, capitalize on your own. He's a great boxer. Again, he forced Terrence Crawford really to have to dig deep when it came to pulling out that fight, and to a degree was beating him for the first half of the fight. It was indeed a great display and showed he belonged with some of the best in the world. Now going up against Virgil Ortiz, though, Virgil Ortiz is a heavy-handed hitter. That brother can crack the kingdom come. You want to talk about a brother who can bang, talk about a brother who can put your lights out in a heartbeat. That is indeed Virgil Ortiz. And Ortiz is a man who, because of his power and because of his, again, warrior type mentality, he will go for broke. Forget trying to box with you, brother. He will look to swing for the fences and take you out, bust through all of your technical mess. Again, and he's a good, don't get me wrong, he is a good boxer himself, but he's so aggressive. He is so, I don't want to call him crazy, but he's so fervent with his ability to go and get you, as well as he can take a shot. Again, he was down versus Bochuk and still came up, and every time he got up, he was still giving Bochuk business. Every time he got knocked down, even got more fervent in his aggression, which inevitably won him the fight. And so it's like, it's indeed great. And see, did you have Ortiz losing versus Bochuk? I honestly, every time I go back and watch that fight, I keep going back and forth with who indeed did deserve to win it or not. I'm content with calling it a draw. It was incredibly close. I'm so serious. And again, because it's like, it was so, they were, at one point in time, for a couple rounds, they were trading punch for punch, blow for blow. And if Virgil landed multiple shots, Bochuk landed a punch that rocked Ortiz. And so it was a situation where, like, volume or damage, which one is more valuable in your mind? And I could get both arguments legitimately. And it's like, I keep flipping back and forth. I'm so serious. And so I can't even, honestly, I would call that a draw. And I just want to see the fight happen again. Because it was so, for me, it was so close and so action-packed. I had it a draw. Just because I was able to make an argument for each fighter in nearly every single round. That was like, I'm not, I see why he should have won this round. Well, actually, I see why Ortiz should have won this round because of da-da-da-da. You know, shoot, man. I still got to keep watching. I've watched it, 3-4 times. It's still the same thing. I keep flip-flopping. So I'm being honest with you. And so, if I honestly, I would score to the draw. And I want to see that fight happen again. So serious. I'm so serious. That fight needs to happen again. Regardless of what the outcome of this fight is imaginable, I need to see Bochuk get back in the ring with the likes of Ortiz. I got you. My gosh, because that fight was and is going to be again indeed incredible. But regardless of which, with this fight in particular, when we look at these two, I think that we're going to see, genuinely, I think we're going to see Ortiz win. And it's not because I'm diminishing the ability of Israil Madrimov. Israil Madrimov and his ability to be so awkward, and his technical ability, along with his physical capabilities, could indeed be something that can give Ortiz so much trouble. Oh, yes, he can. Absolutely, he can. But the issue is, when we look at Virgil Ortiz, the ability to blow through his opponents is something that genuinely, I don't know if I don't know if Madrimov has the ability to withstand it and box that long without having to go into a fight. And when he gets into a fight, now you're in Ortiz's world. Now, timing and all that stuff, it's still in the question, but now you're beating, now you're fighting in a vein where I'm in control. With Madrimov, part of his timing is ability to get you off timing. Part of his timing is to get you off rhythm, make you bite when you're not supposed to, make you move when you don't want to, make you essentially react when there is nothing coming. And now you're jittery, you're hesitant, you are essentially questioning your own moves. And that leads to him to be able to now mitigate not only the pace of the fight, but the pace of you specifically. Excuse me while I take a drink. He's able to control you now because you're in his domain. You are within his own order of business. You are under his jurisdiction because he, by his own movements, is controlling what and where you go. Excuse me, what you do and where you go, because he's making you feel uncomfortable. That's what Madrimov's biggest thing. On top of the power that he does have at his disposal, that threat also gives a level of hesitation as to what moves you should do, which further pushes not just momentum, but control in Madrimov's favor. But when you turn that into a fight, now you can take that away. We saw Crawford able to box with him and be able to slowly chip away that momentum and control to take it back as his own. Absolutely. And it speaks to how great Crawford is. Ortiz is nowhere close to the level of boxer that Crawford is. And we completely understand it. As a technical boxer, as a ring general, Madrimov is better than Ortiz, in my estimation. But as a fighter, Ortiz is better than Madrimov. And when it comes down to that, like I said before, blowing through what your game plan is, that's what Ortiz will do. And that's what he's going to aim to do in this fight. Forget your feints, forget your unpredictability, forget your controlling pace by making me feel uncomfortable. I'm going to force you to you're going to have to react to me, not the other way around. I'm going to come out and I'm going to make it so that you feel my power, you feel my pressure, you feel my aggression, and you feel my ability to make you now submit and succumb to my control of the fight, my control of the offense, my control of the entire momentum that this fight has to offer. And no longer is it going to be that I'm second guessing myself. Nah. If anything, if Virgil Ortiz is who I think he'll be, brother, the second you try to do something, he'll bite. Just to show a force of, nah, you ain't do something if you want to. I'll bite, test it, counter and see what happens. Go in there. I'm just saying. Counter me and see what happens. Touch me and see. Go try. I dare you. He'll call Madrimov's bluff on all of his feints. Not because he's stupid. No, not because he's a terrible boxer. No, he's not. He's a good boxer. I don't think he's as technical as Madrimov, but he's still a great boxer. But because of the fact that, again, with his warrior mentality, as well as his fighting style, and as well as what can work to win this fight, essentially make it so that, okay, I'm not going to worry. Don't worry about the feints. Force him to make a decision. Show your power and aggression and say, okay, hey, you got me. Boom. I bit. What you going to do now? Because if you bite back, I'm ready to bite right after. It's bite for bite for bite. How long do you how much do you want to risk this tit for tat trade? Because it's going to be a situation where you're going to get too close for comfort. And you may get too greedy. Go ahead. And guess what? I'm going to catch. And when I do, now, let's say if I hit you once, I can hit you again. And if I can hit you again, you in my range. And if you in my range, buddy, you in my control. Now, forget feints. Buddy, we fighting. We scrapping. We brawling. We're going for broke. I'm digging to the body. I'm doubling up downstairs. I'm going to take away that movement. I'm going to do it all. And forget your feints. Let's see what you got. And when he drags Madrimov into that type of fight, when he drags Madrimov and calls his bluff and makes it so that now you got to go and fight me where I'm going to be. Because now you ain't got no more bluffs to give. You ain't got no more bluffs to give because you know what I'm going to do. And you can't do a thing to stop it. What you're going to do once we get down to that type of end of your rope and I'm pulling you closer and I got control, now we're going to see Ortiz, I think, get him and tag him and hurt him. And I think we'll see Ortiz knock him out. And it's not because I'm saying that the power or that Madrimov is not tough. No, he is incredibly tough. He's incredibly strong. However, that brother, if you watch the fight with the likes of Terrence Crawford, don't forget in the late rounds, we did between rounds 10 and 12, Madrimov did get rocked on the inside by Crawford. It wasn't abundant, but it was there. Let's not get that twisted. It was there. Oh, also, what's up with you? Warlock Boxing, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in. Glad to see you. Appreciate you coming back. We breaking down all the fights with the likes of the last crescendo, getting ready to get into the likes of Bivol versus Beterbiev in a little bit. Right now we're breaking down the likes of Madrimov versus Virgil Ortiz Jr. And we're saying, I think Virgil's gonna knock him out. And the reason being, he's gonna call his bluff. He's going to force Madrimov to forget. He's going to say, forget Madrimov's feints and forget all of the herky-jerkiness. I'm going to fight through that. And I'm going to force you to have to make a decision. And I'm going to take control by making you fight my fight. And I'm going to dig down to the body. Continue to take away that ability to use your legs as the rounds went on. And when it came to looking at Madrimov's last fight against Crawford, he got rocked slightly in the last rounds against Terrence Crawford when he tried to fight on the inside. Got caught with a straight right hand. Or was it a straight left hand? When he was ducking down. Boom. Caught him. And he was grasping, trying to clinch, because it wasn't just because he was off balance or overwhelmed. Though he was. No, he was hurt. I saw it on his face. I saw it in his body language. And so I know Virgil Ortiz can hurt the likes of Madrimov. And I also know that Madrimov, the struggles with Crawford really came once he couldn't jump around anymore. Did I not say that when we look at the likes of Madrimov, how that herky-jerky nature, how that all that bouncing around, all of that, once you can't use it as the fight goes later, what happens? A portion of your offense gets taken away. Some of your ability gets taken away. The very nature of you as a boxer now is diminished because half of your game plan, which revolves around you jumping around and having the ability to use your toes, be on your toes, using the ring, having that level of bounce and spring to you to make all your feints effective, to make everything believable. Once you become flat-footed, if you do, what does that mean for you? And that means a lot of danger. That means a lot of problems. That means so many issues. That makes that as we saw against Terrence Crawford, slowly but surely, when that bouncing stopped, Crawford was able to really go and work like he wanted to. And I think that same thing's going to happen with the likes of Madrimov in this fight. He's not going to be able to bounce forever. Those feints, not only will we see Virgil Ortiz just call the bluff and just go through them, but also we're going to see that brother dig down deep, go downstairs, take away the body and take away the legs of the likes of Madrimov earlier and start that process even sooner rather than just letting Madrimov tire himself out like we saw against Terrence Crawford. And then it's going to be, then the work really starts. Then the fight starts. And now, you in my domain, without you bouncing, brother, you got to stand and go to work. Because you can't hop in and out. You can't, no more of the hokey pokey anymore. No, you can't do that. We here now. What you going to do? You got strength, you got muscles, you got power, you got some speed. Let's see who can win out when it comes to a knockdown, drag-out brawl. And that's what I can see the likes of Ortiz being able to do. That's what I can see. That's what I can see happen. And let's not forget, Crawford also went to the body throughout the fight as well to help expedite the ability of Madrimov's stamina to get lower and lower, his fatigue to get even more heavy, and the bouncing of Madrimov to finally stop. Well-placed body shots. And Ortiz can throw them in volume and take a bunch of punishment. even if he gets knocked down. Get up like nothing happened and go to work. And make it so that you got some success. But brother, the war ain't over. Oh, it just begun. That's what we're going to see the likes of Virgil Ortiz do. And that's why I think we're going to see madrimov. I think we're going to see him get knocked out. I think we'll see him get knocked out against the likes of Virgil Ortiz. And Virgil Ortiz will be 22 or 23-0. 22 KOs on his resume. Genuinely, I do. And this is not to disrespect the likes of madrimov. It's just, I think that Virgil Ortiz, he's built to beat him. I think he's built to beat him. Genuinely, I do. But again, if you don't feel the same way, please leave it in the chat. Leave it in the comments. Put your own thoughts in the chat below so we can keep on feeling, so I can see how you feel, how you go, what your opinions are when it comes to the whole landscape of this entire breakdown of this phenomenal boxing event that we got going on. And also, we still got more fights to cover. Do we not like what, as we transition into Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker? Now, my gosh, this is a fight for the I believe for the IBF World Heavyweight Championship. It should be. I think it is. Hold on. Let me make sure. I don't want to be incorrect when we talk about what's coming down the pipe. Oh, trust and believe. We are indeed a people that want to be as proper as possible. It's either for the IBF or the WBO. Just give me for 1 second. Second. Give me 1 second. We're going to find it. We're going to find it. We're going to be correct. We're gonna be as deliberate. Yep, IBF. That's what I thought. For the IBF World Heavyweight Championship, we got that fight going on, and now we get to see the winner of this is going to be next in line for the undisputed World Heavyweight Championship against Usyk. Oh, yes, indeed. This is going to be one of the last. Whoever wins this is going to be one of the last two opponents that Usyk will face in his career. So the road is closing down. But who's going to be the one to win it? We got Daniel Dubois, who has come off of both of these fighters, if we're being completely honest, have come off of an incredible resurgence, have indeed turned the tide on their careers for the better. Oh, yes, they have. And made a situation where they are indeed, essentially at the second, I guess you can call it second half of the career, in the second half of resurgence. Joseph Parker, older, more grizzled, has been at the top of the heavyweight regime for, I believe, longer, 35-3, and was at the tops in terms of contending status since the likes of prime AJ got knocked out by Daniel Dubois, and not Daniel Dubois, got knocked out by Joe Joyce, excuse me. And this is a brother who, and lost to Dillian White. And has since then been on a tear, worked his way back up, fought and beat the likes of Wilder, and fought beating the likes of Zhang, Big Bang Zhang, my favorite fighter, and boom, now is back at the limelight to potentially get a world title opportunity for a legitimate world championship. Versus Daniel Dubois, who has been building himself up in his young career after being called a quitter, after being called somebody who is never going to live up to their potential, was able to, again, after losing to Usyk, went on a tear, beat Israil Miller, knocked him out, beat Floyd, knocked him out, beat Anthony Joshua, knocked him out, and now is getting ready to face off against Joseph Parker to potentially get a shot at a rematch with Usyk from what seemed like to be a robbery from his first fight with Usyk. For a lot of people, that was deemed a low blow. That was, in some people's eyes, a body shot. People say that could have changed the course of history and changed the course of that fight, and that would have been a knockout. Now, I think it would have been a knockdown if it was counted, and Usyk would have gotten up and the same thing would have happened. But even regardless of which, who was going to win this hotly contested affair between two of the, I guess we can call it, two of the essentially comeback fighters of the year? If we want to call it that, genuine. And one being a prospect for fighter of the year with the amount of talent he's faced. When it comes to Daniel Dubois versus Joe Joyce, we have to look at this and say, not Joe Joyce, Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker, excuse me. Joseph Parker, right now, I'll say this. It's not that Joseph Parker can't win. But I don't think he will win this fight. Honestly, in all honesty. And it's because of the fact that everything he brings to the table, it is great, don't get me wrong. But against this version of Dillian Whyte, I don't think it will be enough. Because he brings speed. He brings toughness. He brings, again, an incredible strength, as well as he can go for 12 rounds. Got a great gas tank on him as well. Don't get me wrong. Has been experienced against some of the best in the world. At their best when they were at their primes. It's not like just a flimsy situation when we look at the likes of Joseph Parker. No. This man was able to come back because he evolved himself. No question. But now going up against Daniel Dubois, we're looking at Daniel Dubois. A lot of the stuff that he faced off against when he was on this comeback trail, they lacked something. They lacked an element that could have been the thing to put Joseph Parker away. In all seriousness. I'm so serious. Jack Massey, he was better than. Absolutely. Upelu, he was better than. No problem. Simon Kina, better than. No question. Should have been. Wilder, this is where Wilder was packed up. Wilder was gone. Wilder was never the same. Wilder was as what he used to be, had been checked out fully. He's still dangerous, but he'd been checked out fully. Hesitant to throw the right hand, was complacent with just taking punishment, hadn't evolved defensively. Everything about Wilder was never the same. The confidence within himself seemingly had gone. The bronze, he lost himself in that fight. Before that fight, when we were all fooled when he knocked out the likes of Robert Elenius in one shot, only throwing 3 punches, landing 1, and that shot ended the night. Oh yes, he was dangerous. But then what actually he was came to light when he faced off against a quality type of competitor. He lost himself fully. Never the same. If he had that level of confidence within himself that he used to, maybe that could have been different. If he hadn't gone and tried to retool himself into a negative light, boom, again, lost himself. Maybe it could have been different. But he lost the essence of Wilder. He lost the essence of the Braun Bomber. If he had that, many people would say that, yeah, Deontay Wilder would beat the likes of Joseph Parker. Coming into the fight, people were saying that Wilder would beat the likes of Joseph Parker. Because of what we thought Wilder still was at that point in time. But he's not. When he fought the likes of Zhang, Zhang was a better boxer than Parker. He is. That's not up for debate in my eyes. He is a better boxer than the likes of Joseph Parker. Zhang is a better boxer than many people in the division. But the biggest problem with him is his stamina. He doesn't have a gas tank. And so if you can survive the first couple rounds, you take it late, you can go. But he knocked down Joseph Parker twice, was able to catch him and hurt him, and Parker is incredibly tough. Mind you, it took Joe Joyce 10, 12 rounds to finally knock down and knock out the likes of Joseph Parker. And to a degree, helped by the just fatigue that Joseph Parker was having to exert when he was trying to go all out to fight at that point in time. The granite wall that was Joseph Parker, when his chin was at that point in time the best in the world. When it came to Parker, Zhang had him beaten power, had him beaten technique, could match him in speed, had him in size. Could fight was better defensively, could have overwhelmed him offensively, and did. Was able to be a more precise puncher. All of that was true. He was a better fighter, but because he didn't have the stamina, what happened? He fell flat. He fell and couldn't go the second half of the fight. And Joseph Parker was able to win rounds one by one based off of sheer volume and work. And Zhang literally did not throw enough. That was the biggest reason why Zhang lost. So he didn't have stamina. Now you go up against Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois got power to knock you out. One of the strongest punchers in the division. You want to talk about the grip strength? But it had 86 kilograms. Now what that means in pounds? Not sure. But it's the heaviest out of everybody. It was heavier than Zhang. And Zhang is probably at this stage in the game, probably the second most powerful heavyweight in the division right now. And pound for pound, one of the biggest heavyweight punchers, one of the biggest punchers in all the boxing. No question about that. That brother Dubois got more grip strength than him. It's seen right now as probably the hardest puncher in the division outside of the likes of the one right-handed Deontay Wilder, but we don't know when that brother's fighting again, so hey. He's got stamina to go all 12 rounds like he did with Jarrell Miller. He's gained himself in his fights with Jarrell Miller and Hrgovic. Gained confidence. Found who he was again. Found who he needs to be. Got the bravado and knocked out the likes of Anthony Joshua. Finished the job that Usyk couldn't do when he had him hurt in the first fight. Completely dominated him. Can take punches and take shots, will be able to take the power of Joseph Parker, and has the ability to walk you down and render you helpless, similar to what we saw against Parker versus Joyce. He's got everything, and right now lacks nothing because of who he has evolved himself into. Again, both of these people have come on an evolution trail, no question about that. But it's been Dubois has faced off on the whole against, on average, during his most recent run, better competition, higher ranked competition, and has found and evolved himself more than what we see from Joseph Parker. And that's not disrespecting Joseph Parker, but that speaks to what we're looking at in this fight. The best way we can see Joseph Parker win would be with speed, would be with, again, the overhand right, being able to use those combinations and getting later in the fight and having success. And as a boxer, hey, some people may say that Parker as a boxer is better. But as a brawler, as a pressure fighter, Dubois is better than Parker. And if Dubois stays the Dubois that we know him as now, it doesn't lose himself, keeps to that same bravado, keeps to that same outright not just aggression, but utter confidence in himself and his abilities and who he is now, and fights like it, like he's been fighting for the past 3 rounds. Yes, he can look crude. Yes, he can look rude when it comes to his fighting style. Yes, he can look brolic, and absolutely just look, it ain't pretty. But doggone it, is it effective? And because of that, Joseph Parker is going to have a long night. And if he can't keep Dubois respectable, I don't think he's going to be able to win. And I don't think he will be able to do it. And I think we'll see Dubois beat Joseph Parker. Now, I could be wrong, but I genuinely think that we'll see Joseph Parker lose and potentially get knocked out by Daniel Dubois. I genuinely do. That's how I genuinely feel. And I think we'll see Daniel Dubois beat Joseph Parker, knock him out, or get unanimous decision, and then go through and get his rematch with Usyk. And what happens at that point, who knows? All I do know is that it's going to be a fight that's going to be worth seeing. If Israil Madrimov isn't the fight of the night versus Ortiz, it'll probably be Joseph Parker. It'll probably be the co-main event, Joseph Parker versus Daniel Dubois. And I got Daniel Dubois winning and knocking out the likes of Joseph Parker. And we'll see. And retaining the IBF title, getting a shot against Usyk. Oh, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be incredible. And then real quick, as we go through, getting ready to go through Daniel Dubois, but real quickly, Kabayel versus Big Bang Zhang. Another fight that we are all seeing. I'm going to be biased here. I'm going to be biased. I'm picking Zhang to win. Because I just want Zhang to win. Let's be perfectly frank. I don't want him losing again and getting out of the type of opportunity. Because I want to see him against the best of the best at least one time. And if that can happen, great. It'll be phenomenal. But when it comes to Big Bang Zhang versus Kabayel, I got Big Bang winning just because out of favoritism. Now, can he actually win? No question about it. If it's within the first 5 rounds of this fight. Because going up against Kabayel is incredibly, I do mean incredibly dangerous. Great combination puncher. Got great stamina. Is fluid with his punches. He can mix it up going upstairs and downstairs. Has great shot placement. Is indeed somebody who every fight we're seeing evolving and changing, getting better, making his style even more deadly. One of the best rising stars in the world of heavyweight right now, looking to be one of the biggest contenders to a title later down the line if he beats the likes of Zhang. But he's going to be right there right now. Again, 25-0 in his young career, 17 KOs on his resume is indeed powerful, is indeed multi-dimensional. And he's a brother who again, he's not perfect, but he's as real as real can get. And going up against the likes of Zhang, it's going to be what he's going to need to do. But he's going to have to last. That's what it's going to need to be. He's going to have to last. If he can last against Zhang, make it past 5 rounds, and then keep up that work ethic, could be a real dire situation. And we could see Zhang get beat. Genuine. We could see Zhang get overwhelmed. We could see Zhang, I'm not going to say get knocked out, but potentially get stopped just because he can't answer back. Or it could turn into a fight like we saw Zhang versus Hergovich, where it goes in late. Kabayel's got to spend a lot of energy to really damage Zhang. Zhang hurting Kabayel throughout the rounds. Now it turns into a very close and hotly contested affair that's got everybody asking who's going to win. And if we see Kabayel potentially do gas out, now both of y'all on even playing fields, who's going to take the bait? Who's going to take the victor in this slugfest of an event as the rounds get later on? That's what we could see. And if it gets to that standpoint, I think if we see Zhang even slightly improve his stamina, then yeah, Zhang can take it. No question about it. Either Zhang knocks out Kabayel in 5 rounds, because he's going to have to retain all his power and acumen, or we see Kabayel going later in the fight, take the likes of Zhang and go the distance and up his volume every single round to outpace the slowing volume of Zhang, as Zhang's got to be essentially more judicial with his punches. And then boom, he takes it. But I want Zhang to win. So I'm picking Zhang to win. If I'm being completely honest, I want Zhang to win, so I'm picking Zhang to win. But I'm not going to put it past anybody that picks Kabayel, because most likely, yeah, that's what's going to happen. Kabayel takes it because of that, the ability to last all fight long. Now, if Kabayel can't take the power, and unlike with Joseph Parker, Kabayel, if he does get knocked down, can't recover like the likes of Joseph Parker, and Zhang is able to actually finish the job, hey, we got ourselves a new dangerous situation. Because we don't know as much about the chin of Kabayel than we do about Zhang. We don't. And because of that, it's going to be interesting. Interesting to see. But I got the likes of Zhang beating Kabayel in this fight. If it's in the first 5 rounds, it's got to be. Because if not, once it gets to round 6 and on, it's going to be Kabayel's world. Because Zhang's stamina just ain't going to be enough. It just won't be enough in the slightest. And now that we've covered I believe that's all of most of the big fights of the night. Now, we get to see the likes of I guess the main event. I guess we can cover the main event. Oh, excuse me. Let's got one more. Hamzat versus Adams, or Hamzat Chavez versus Carlos Adeems. I got Chavez by knockout. That brother is spectacular. Oh, he's incredible. Oh, he is a sight to see. If you haven't seen him yet, he's gonna work Adeems. If I'm saying that correctly, work Adeems. Or is it Adams? Adams? Carlos Adams? I think it's Adams. He's going to work. Chavez is going to work Adams. That's going to be a phenomenal display. And another great win. And then Batiste versus Callum Smith. Hey, I'll go with Batiste. I'll go with Batiste to get to beat Callum Smith. But now we'll get to see the main event of the night with the likes of not Daniel Dubois, Bivol versus Beterbiev. Yes, the fight everybody's been waiting to see. The fight that's been on everybody's mind. The rematch of one of the better fights of the year to crown the light heavyweight champion of the world, with Beterbiev taking reins, taking hold, and beating Bivol with constant aggression and power on a bum knee to win the undisputed title. Now we went in, we talked about this before. We talked about what we can see Bivol actually do. We talked about the questions that we have for Bivol in this next time round. And so as we go through and breaking down the fight, let's be frank and let's be real. When we look at the likes of Bivol versus Beterbiev, we got to question, what can Bivol do? Because when we look at the game plans for each, Beterbiev is the same thing. Cut off the ring, walk and stalk, keep on up the aggression as the rounds go on, damage Bivol through his guard, and continue to make him feel the pressure and power and force him to submit like we've seen you do against every single opponent in your career. It's happened. It's been great. It's been phenomenal. With also your underrated ability to be great defensively, catching and blocking shots with what looks like simple defense. You're incredibly intuitive, you're instinctual, but again, it's simplistic destruction. We have touched on that before. The likes of Beterbiev is simplistic destruction. The way he goes about beating his opponents is not just because, oh, he's just so strong and dominant. He only does what needs to be done. And not in the same vein as Shakur Stevenson. No, this brother does what needs to be done in the most straightforward way possible. He goes the easiest route to beat you and destroy you while implementing a lot of nuance in his game, in his defense, in his offense that doesn't look like anything special, but the opponent can't withstand it in the slightest. That is what Beterbiev does every single time he gets in the ring. Every single time. And because of that, now we get to see the likes of Beterbiev to keep the same game plan and just compound on it. Start faster early. Be more aggressive from early on in the outset. Force Bivol back and cut off the ring even more effectively. You understand a lot of the tricks of the trade that he did in the first fight. You know some of the patterns now. You know some of the tendencies. You understand exactly what, for the most part, what Bivol is able to do, how to track that movement, how to cut off the movement, how to anticipate the movement, and the sublime boxing ability that Bivol has on display. You can do it. Absolutely you can. And now you know, with studying back on film and understanding what the game plan of Bivol is, you now know and can more easily make a way to not just get a decision win, but to get a knockout. Oh, it's possible. It's entirely possible. Now, and the game plan, again, is the same. Seek and destroy, walk him down, cut off the ring, and make it so that Bivol, again, has to shell up and has to essentially survive because he can't withstand the power that you have coming at him, nor is not able to score anything. And on the side of Bivol, now you're looking at a situation where this is where the real question is. I don't think Bivol can win. And I'll be frank, I think Beterbiev is going to beat Bivol. I mean, that's the prediction right now. That's the prediction right now. I think Beterbiev is going to beat Bivol. Genuinely, I do. And it's not because I'm disrespecting Bivol. No. Bivol fought nearly the perfect fight last time. Bivol fought nearly the perfect fight last time around. No question about it. Was moving, was boxing, was scoring, was throwing in flurries, was making openings, not just being complacent with just hitting on the guard of Beterbiev, was using angles, using the entirety of the ring, forced Beterbiev to have to use that meniscus that he had recently gotten repaired to put weight on it all night long, stress everything that Beterbiev needed to do. Made Beterbiev have to work harder than he's ever had to work in his career. Not saying other opponents didn't give him great work, but in terms of movement and having to catch a target, being elusive, landing and slipping, but not running, being safe while still being as effective as possible, understanding the danger that's in front of you. Bivol did all of that. He fought nearly the perfect fight that you could ask for. For somebody that doesn't have a lot of power, for somebody that can go all 12 rounds, for somebody that has great stamina, great punch output, great ability to use diverse offense, has a phenomenal jab, used everything at his disposal to near perfection. Again, fought the near perfect fight, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. Now, like we said in other shows before, what can you do to compound on this performance? What can you do to make what you did better? You nearly fought the perfect fight. Now what? Now what? Now what you gonna do? What's the next out? How is it that you can improve when it comes to you being better against Beterbiev? And I don't know what the answer is. I don't know. Your jab can't get any better. You use phenomenal combinations. You can't add, but all eventually you couldn't use them in the second half of the fight. You weren't able to stay with the brother because the damage was too much. You could not hurt Beterbiev when you were able to catch him clean. And even in you being elusive, you still got scarred up, damaged, hurt, and eventually was forced to shell up. Even when Beterbiev wasn't landing clean all fight long because you couldn't stop the forward pressure. And inevitably, similar to the likes of madrimov, you couldn't move once the late stages of the fight came. You couldn't use all your technical ability. You couldn't use the ring. You couldn't use your angles. You couldn't use your footwork. You couldn't use your elusiveness. You couldn't keep the distance. You couldn't do that second half of the fight because you couldn't keep Beterbiev off of you if you're Bivol. Now that that's the case, what is it that you are going to do to compound on this performance? And I don't think there's anything he can do. I don't think there's a thing he can do because he's not getting stronger. He doesn't get more punching power. He can get faster, sure. Maybe. But even still, everything else, you can only improve on what you did by but so much, and it wasn't enough. The only way that we can see Bivol legitimately be able to get a win in this fight, he's got to take more chances when it comes to throwing his combinations. He's got to. He's got to. That's the only way. That is genuinely, that's the biggest problem that made him lose the last fight. He didn't take enough chances. He didn't take any more. He didn't take enough opportunities to score when it came to Beterbiev because of the danger and because of the way the fight went as a whole. He didn't. He had some success with flurries. He had some success with combinations. Bivol had some success when it came to being offensive, but it wasn't enough because he didn't do enough throughout the entirety of the fight. He had spurts of good offense. He had spurts of scoring. He had spurts of being able to be great offensively, but it wasn't enough with the consistent level that Bivol was able to continually walk forward, score, land, force you to shell up, and consistently have you on the back foot, while also being able to block and be defensively sound as he was coming forward. And the damage accumulated. That's what you couldn't do. And you got to take more risk when you look at the side of Bivol, if you're Bivol. But with risk comes a dire, not just an incredible reward, which is undisputed, but a dire consequence if you fail in taking that risk. And that risk is you can get knocked out. Oh, you can get knocked out clean.
Hey, look at this! We got some problems here! We got some problems here!
You get knocked out clean, and that's a problem. Oh, that's a problem. We're looking at a major problem when it comes to the landscape of Bivol versus Beterbiev. We are at a situation where Bivol, the biggest risk you can take is the biggest detriment potentially that you can have. I'm so serious. Because if you take more risk if you're Bivol against Beterbiev, you are more inclined to get knocked out. Full stop. Full stop. More inclined to get beat, shaken up. I mean cold, hard caught. We touched on this in the last show when we're previewing this whole breakdown. With Bivol versus Beterbiev, in was it round 7 that Bivol was having his best offensive round to date, and Beterbiev caught him with one shot, a quick counter. I mean a quick counter. But I almost missed, and he caught him, and he rocked him, and he put that brother on his back. Not in terms of on the floor, but he had him backing up immediately. I'm talking about you would think that the coaches told him, hey, sparring's over, back off. Because he immediately retreated. Bivol immediately went backwards. That brother immediately stopped punching, full stop. And he got hurt, and he couldn't do anything afterwards. For the rest of the round, that one, for the last 30 seconds, Beterbiev went from being pummeled in terms of Bivol being offensively all over to one counter, put Bivol, back on his high horse. And for the rest of the round and for the rest of the fight, Bivol was incredibly hesitant on throwing anything because he couldn't take the power. Because the risk at you being so aggressive, you taking more steps to being more successful, you taking more steps to being more offensively aggressive and offensively minded, has the risk of you getting knocked out in one punch. And Bivol can't take that power. He ain't getting more durability. He ain't getting more power. He ain't getting a better chin. He's got what he's got. And the only way that he can improve on what he had would be to be able to go and make himself more open for counters by being more aggressive offensively. That's the only way. Keeping that same high volume throughout the entirety of the fight. That's what he would have to do. That's what he would have to do. That would be the only recourse. And if he does that, he is going to get knocked out. That's the biggest concern. But that's the most likely scenario because that's what we're working with. We're working with a man who you fought a near perfect fight and it wasn't enough. The only thing that wasn't perfect was your amount of offense and the lack of consistent high volume offense that could have indeed won you some of those rounds, that could have swung the fight in your favor. Now that you need to take that risk in order to be successful, you are at a crossroads of if you do take this risk, you got to understand what you're walking into. Because you're not walking into just a punch. You're walking into potentially death itself. You're walking into death itself. Death's domain. The legitimate end-all be-all when it comes to power in this sport of boxing is right now Artur Beterbiev. There is no question. Right now it's Artur Beterbiev. You survived because you did everything perfect. But now perfect ain't enough. You got to do more. You got to take a risk. You got to take a chance. And that chance could have your butt on the floor, not knowing when the fight ended, just knowing that you up with the opponent's hands being raised. It's entirely possible that we could see Bivol win. No question about that. We can see this man truly fight the perfect fight and keep the offensive volume up and still be successful in his ability to still be defensively responsible. Potentially be able to keep his stamina for all 12 rounds to be able to bounce. Make Beterbiev miss. We could indeed see that and have him be successful and win. There's no question. But I don't see that happening. I don't see that happening at all. Because I don't see the likes of Bivol being able to keep that level of risk. Because it's going to catch up to him. Because when he did it in the fullest, when he truly popped the clutch, opened up the floodgates, let his hands go, truly, he got caught immediately. And some would say he lost that round in the last 30 seconds because of how much damage not just was done from Beterbiev from that counter, but how quickly and how just full stop the momentum stopped. That was one of the biggest turning points in the fight. I'm so serious. Because Bivol took a risk and got caught. Bivol can't afford not to take risk in this fight. He's got to open himself up to potentially be countered. He's got to open himself up to potentially get caught clean. He's got to open himself up to potentially be hurt. Because if he just goes and boxes like he did last time, the same outcome is going to take precedent. He's got to make him step. The only way I can win is to put myself in danger. That's going to be the only way. And it can happen. But I don't see it happen. And I think he's going to get knocked out. Not just because of Beterbiev's power. Not just because of the openings that Bivol is going to be forced to have to open himself up to. And forced to put himself in danger of being countered, caught, and knocked out. But also, I don't think we talk about this enough. How long has it been since the fight with Bivol versus Beterbiev? How long has it been? I believe it's been upwards of, 6 months? 6 months? 6, 7 months? Just about, maybe a little bit longer, maybe a little bit shorter. But that shows now The knee is fully recovered. Excuse me. We haven't heard anything about Beterbiev's knee of recent, at least from what I found. We haven't heard anything except for progress is great. No longer does he need, I believe, a knee brace. Even if he does, it's just for support. But that knee is well and good, better than it was in the first fight. It was better than it was in the first fight. It's going to be almost, unless some freak accident happens, it's going to be better. No question about it. And because it's going to be better, oh my gosh, the ability to cut off the ring, the ability to walk and stalk Beterbiev, the ability to mitigate, the ability to walk and stalk for Beterbiev, the ability to catch Bivol more easily and more quickly, the ability to be able to be even more explosive, to have more power, to be able to be more deliberate, not just in your steps and movement, but to even better implement your game plan because you're confident and stable in your physical capabilities in the fullest capacity. Now, you don't have to worry about what a step could do. You don't have to worry about what an injury could potentially come up. Because if I have my switches correctly, that knee is just about, it's now fully healed. Fully. Unlike with what we had in the first fight, which was still, it was healed, but it wasn't fully recovered. This fight, unless I missed something, Beterbiev is going to be completely healthy. Completely healthy. I'm full stop healthy. And he can put weight on that knee. He can walk confident in that knee. He can cut off the ring confidently in that knee. He can move forward and march forward with that knee. He can plant his feet with that knee. And you saw the damage that he did with that knee being injured. Again, just throwing arm punches and still not being able to put what you would normally have as full torque through his hips and legs due to, again, the knee. With that knee now fully healed, my gosh. Horrifying for Lex Bivol. Because now that's what you got to go up against. You got beat last time against a somewhat still injured Beterbiev. Now against a fully healed Beterbiev, Bivol, what can you do? And I don't think it can be much. You can fight the same way. Don't get me wrong, you will have some success, but the same thing's gonna happen. And dare I say, it's gonna be even worse. Because I think he's gonna get knocked out. And that's my prediction. I see Beterbiev knocking out Bivol to retain the undisputed light heavyweight championship of the world and legitimately submitting himself as one of the greatest light heavyweights in history. Incredible. Phenomenal. Absolutely ridiculous. What could be after that? Who knows? But that's what I see happen. And again, I would love to hear your thoughts on what you think about this entire affair. Again, comment your own thoughts and opinions on what you feel, what you have for this fight, what you have for the whole card. And genuinely, do you agree? Do you disagree? How do you feel? Do you hate it? Do you love it? Whatever we want to talk about, put it in the chat. But that's what I genuinely feel. And I think we're going to see this man get knocked out. And I think we're going to see Bivol in the late stages. If you want a specific round prediction, I got it between the likes of, if he hurt him in round 7 and now his knee is fully healed, I'll give it round 9 knockout. I'll say round 9. We see Beterbiev not just beat Bivol, but knock out Bivol in round 9. I'll say it. I could be wrong, but that's what I genuinely think is going to happen. Because it's hard for me to say that a better version of Beterbiev can't not beat the same version of Bivol. Or to make it easier, let me flip it around. It's hard for me to say that the same version of Bivol, which I don't see any real way that he can improve on what he did last fight, unless taking mega risk that is going to have him caught and knocked out. I don't see how the same version of Bivol, no matter how great it is, can beat a better version of Beterbiev, who's going to be fully healthy coming into this fight, on top of what he was able to do in the first fight with a bum knee to be able to beat you already. Genuine. I don't know what he can do. And because of that, I think we're going to see him get knocked out. And I think we're going to see Beterbiev win. Wholeheartedly. I think we're going to see Beterbiev win. And that's my prediction. Shoot. That's what I got. We've been what? It's been what? How long has it been? What's the time when the show's been? What, an hour? What, an hour 40? Or it hasn't been long? Oh, shoot. It might be 2 hours we've been covering this whole thing. It's been phenomenal. It's been great. We've talked about everything under the sun. And now that we've covered all the fights of the night, I guess it's time for the thing that we do best. It's time for the championship rounds. That's right. Yes, indeed. Whatever you want to discuss and talk about, it is your time to shine. Oh, no question. Put in your thoughts. Put in your comments. In fact, let me get the banner up for it right now. But put in your thoughts. Put in your comments right now and have it so that whatever you want to discuss about, we can discuss it right here on the show. Right now on the show. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you hate everything I talked about? Do you think, hey, I'm a savant, I'm Nostradamus, or whatever the word you want, whatever you want to say about my predictions for these fights? Is there anything else you want to discuss? Whatever you want to talk about it right now. And put it in the chat, and so we can go and discuss, and I can hear your opinions right now. Let me see, chat here. How do I spell this? Hold on, wait a minute. There we go. Shoot, I think I might have had. Shoot, yeah, well, that's the best I can do. That's how I knew. A little bit of spelling ain't hurt nobody. I'm trying to keep it. I accidentally had caps lock on. But either way, regardless of which, it's all good. Championship rounds. Comment your thoughts. Whatever you want to discuss and talk about, we can talk about it right here, right now. Well, again, we are here. Last 30 minutes to an hour. Whatever you want to discuss on the show, your predictions, your chats, whatever you feel, we can talk about it right now. No question about it. And when it comes to, I guess, while you're waiting, while you're commenting, while you're looking to see what you want to talk about, let's jump into the narratives of what some of these things are going to be. Like with Shakur versus Floyd Schofield. Again, I picked Schofield to get the upset. Again, I in my heart, I think Shakur's going to win. But I got Schofield getting the upset on Shakur. But if we do, in fact, see that happen, what will that do for Shakur's ability to be a marketable fighter at this stage right now? I'm so serious. With everything that we talk about him as being boring, as him genuinely being somebody people don't want to watch, if this performance is bad, or dare I say, we see him get beat, now there's a real question to have that's going to have us all saying, well, shoot, what's his stock at? Is it going to be, that could potentially put the fight between Shakur and Tank in the dirt fully. I mean fully. Because at that point in time, everything that Tank is saying would be then deemed true by the public. What has he done? What is he worth? He can't really fight. He hasn't fought anybody. Then if he loses to Schofield, everybody's going to be harping on the train of, yeah, the brother's a bump. The brother, we don't want to see that fight because now we know what happens if we see Schofield beat him. Absolutely. Shakur can't beat the likes of Tank. And then further, with Tank and other fighters, he's going to be hard for him to get a fight, potentially. Because then, you're already born, you already lost, no longer are you the polished, undefeated, dominant savant that we propped you up as. In terms of marketing-wise, as a promoter and others, fighters don't want to go with you because now the luster is gone. The man that beat Shakur is going to get the biggest rub on their career. Anybody else out there is going to be here. Genuine. That's how some people may feel. So now, it's a hotly contested issue. And for Floyd Schofield, brother, that would be an insane bump. Ridiculous bump. I have a stupendous bump for the likes of Schofield if he does indeed beat the likes of Shakur Stevens. Oh, gosh. My goodness. On top of going back and talking with, and since his dad cashing checks that he's got to go and essentially make good on, similar to the likes of Bill Haney and Deborah Haney, similar to the likes of Teofimo Lopez and his dad. But in this situation, hey, Schofield admitted it. Yeah, we're trolling. Yeah, we're just trying to make a fight happen. Get me in the ring. I'll make the sparks happen. Make him fly. If he does, in fact, make him fly. My gosh. Talk about some real bump. Now people are going to be calling for him versus Tank. Him versus Keyshawn Davis. Floyd Schofield versus Schofield versus Lomachenko. Anybody of the big, essentially big three, he's going to have one of the biggest stars in sport. It's going to be big ramifications, but really bigger than anything else when it comes to, excuse me, as I'm taking a drink real quick. But bigger than anything else, this is a showcase for Shakur. We have to be completely honest. Shakur being on this card has a lot of people interested. Not just with the opponent, but because of him specifically going up against an opponent like Schofield. Now, like I've said with Devin Haney, I got to say the same for the likes of Shakur. You are at the biggest stage in your career. You are at one of the biggest opportunities to make yourself not just a household name, but a household name that people want to see. You're at a threshold that you are the third biggest fight on this card. You are a fighter that everybody's going to want to see. Are you worth the hype? For some people, this is going to be the first time seeing you in full capacity. Not just in highlights, not just in a situation of, I've heard about you. You're boring, so I buy into you're boring. You're a great boxer, so I buy in to you're a great boxer because that's what everybody says. It's going to be the first stint at seeing you for full force. With the whole world potentially at your feet for making a big time opportunity to stake your claim as, I'm about the hype. I am the hype. There's a reason why I'm in line to fight Tank, or I am in step for step when it comes to Tank fighting big names. I'm one of them because I'm that dog. You got to show it now. You got to. There's no more excuses. You can't say that boxing fans don't know what they're talking about. And then one of the biggest opportunities to put it to bed with most of the boxing purists watching you. And you can't say that we're stupid now. You can't say that we don't know what we're seeing when we see the same thing that we're seeing. Just like with Devin Haney, you are at a crossroads where you got to make sure that you make yourself known. You make your presence felt. You make your legitimate talent something that is undeniable, something that is incredible, something that's a spectacle. Because if you don't, you're going to fall flat. You're going to fall by the wayside. That's what's going to happen. It's not what I want to happen, but that's what's going to happen. That's what genuinely is going to happen. Because if there is a real conversation that if this looks the same as De Los Santos, even in a win, kiss the Tank fight goodbye. Kiss a lot of fights goodbye. Just like with Devin Haney, we've talked about this in the past. It's not just the win that's important. It's not just you being successful. It is the ability for you as a boxer to make an impression on the masses. You got to. You have to. You have to right now. You can't afford to be anything less. You can't afford to be anything but everything that we know you can be. You cannot afford to be boring. You cannot afford just to be seen as blasé. If you as Shakur Stevenson against Floyd Schofield are just seen as blasé, just seen as, you are indeed what everybody says, not because of your boxing ability, but because we go to sleep watching you, what does that show us? That shows all of us you aren't worth our time. You're not worth our investment. You're not worth us caring about you. Even with the title around your waist, even with the championship under your name, even with you being one of the best in the division. And it's not because I'm diluting your talent, but it's because this is still a business. I'm not stupid to that in the slightest. There is a level of, if the fans don't want to see you, even as a champion, brother, people ain't going to buy nothing. People won't care. People will not care. And you ain't Floyd. You ain't nearly as hateable. Because people paid to see Floyd Mayweather lose because they didn't like him, just like they're doing with Jake Paul now. You ain't got that. You're not as much of a marketable guy. Your social media presence isn't seen as something great. It's seen as something that is a crux to you. People don't like that about you. You're a social media warrior. That's what some people say about you. In other boxers, in a negative light, not in a positive light. That's the problem. There's a lot of negative stigma coming around the likes of Shakur Stevenson right now. That on this card, the last crescendo, under Bivol and Beterbiev, under Joseph Parker versus Daniel Dubois, the third to last fight of the night, when everybody's going to start coming in, tuning in, most likely people going to legitimately buy the fight right then and there. Only when you're there. People going to come into the stadium when your fight comes along. Even though the whole card is stacked. Because you are a household name that right now is on the precipice of make or break in some form or fashion. You are on the cusp of either being seen as valid or being seen as fraudulent in multiple different capacities. Not just in the capacity of, oh, yeah, he's a good boxer. But from your star power to your ability not to put people to sleep, to your ability not to have us regretting taking time out to watch you, and in your ability to show that, yeah, when it comes to me and Tank, I am one of the biggest threats. I should be pushed for that fight to happen with me. All of it. The money, the respect, the acclaim, all of that can be elevated or diluted. Even in a win or a loss in this fight. All of it. Risks are just as high as they've been. It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad if you indeed don't live up to it. All we're asking, don't do what you've been doing. And don't just fight to win the night. Don't do the bare minimum. Yes, your hands are broken. Yes, you got brittle hands. Yes, all of this stuff is true. Do not let yourself fall victim to just winning the night. Because the bare minimum, even in a win, is going to have everybody saying, we don't care about you. You got to show us everything in your arsenal. I'm not even saying you got to get a knockout. I'm not even saying you got to go and you got to hurt them every round. No. But what I am saying is you need to have some level of separation and we can say, yeah, that was a good performance. He showed us everything that he is and some stuff we may have even forgotten about. He showed some aspects of the fight with Jamal here. He showed some aspects of the fight with Yoshino. He showed some aspects with his ability to fight in the pocket, stand and bang, being defensive while still being offensively active, not just being complacent with clinching up and running, but genuinely putting a fight that has us all in good standing. Yeah, this brother's the real deal. That's what we want. All you got to do is show it. That's all you got to do is show it. But if you don't, that's on you. Mega problem. It's going to be a mega problem. It's going to be a huge problem. So insane of a problem. And then, let's be perfectly frank, he's not the only brother that's got something to risk on this card. When we look at the likes of Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker, with this comeback trail, we're genuinely saying with one of these two, somebody's getting bumped down the ladder egregiously, potentially, specifically with Joseph Parker. If Joseph Parker loses to Daniel Dubois, beyond just the loss, if he does lose, now he's what? How old is he? Joseph Parker is, if I have my stuff correctly, Joseph Parker he's 33 years old. He's been fighting since the likes of, when his first fight in the pros was 2012. He's lived through both the heights and downfall of Anthony Joshua, Klitschko, Fury, the rise of Usyk, the downfall and resurgence of Daniel Dubois. He's lived through all of it. The rise and downfall of Joe Joyce. He's lived through all of it. He's had nearly 40 fights on his career. Again, he is seasoned. Yes, he is respected. No question. But at the same time, this next crop of heavyweight is coming up. It's coming up quick. Moses Atuma, Kabayel. Again, Daniel Dubois, right now, is living up to what he was supposed to be, which was the torchbearer for this next era. They are coming. And because of that, at this stage in your career, going in, even though it's a quote-unquote a second prime that we're seeing from you, If you lose, I'm not saying you can't come back, but it's gonna be mighty hard to get back to this top of the mountain. It's gonna be something serious, something insane to try to get back to the top. If you do, if you don't, hey, respect to you. Turn to a gatekeeper. Turn to somebody that is seen as they go through and they mitigate who is indeed part of this elite tier and who isn't. And he can still fight his way up to the top. But I'm telling you, man, it's gonna be difficult. On the side of Daniel Dubois, if Daniel Dubois does in fact lose this fight, I'm not saying it's over. Again, he's only 25 years old. I believe he's only 25 years old. I think he just had a 27 years old. So he's still reaching the physical prime of his career, as well as he's fighting actively. So it's not like he's gonna let ring rust stop him, which is great. But the question is, unlike with Joseph Parker, I'm not concerned with his mental fortitude. Daniel Dubois, I am. And it's not because it's not because I am backtracking on everything I've said about Daniel Dubois in the press. I'm not backtracking on the ability of Daniel Dubois to be solid in who he is, solid in his confidence, unshakable. I'm not backtracking it. What I am saying is, when you build yourself up after going to the lowest of lows, there can be a situation where, for some people, they stay at that level. And yet, I'm still me. For others, it's incredibly demoralizing. So I did all this work. I came all this way. I came back when everybody was writing me off. I did all of this. And now I'm back down in the depths. Back in the shadow realm. I'm back where I never wanted to be. Where mentally can I go when I found everything I needed to about myself and it still wasn't enough to keep me where I wanted to be? And that can break some people. That can really harm the mentality of some people. And with Daniel Dubois, it was at first, he found himself within these last 3 fights. Jarrell Miller, Jarrell Miller, Hergovich, and Anthony Joshua. 3 TKO and knockout stoppages. Incredible. Against high caliber to, again, top 3 opposition. He did it all. And if he falls back down in the mountain now, it's not like I'm saying he's going to be the end of the world for him. He's got more than enough time to come back. A loss, even 3 losses, doesn't mean anything when it comes to who you are ultimately. Because, again, Daniel Dubois is 22-2. And he's right now seen as one of the biggest stars in the heavyweight division. Rightfully so. All the acclaim worthy of. And we respect the comeback trail. Because it's been a trail. Oh, we watch it all. It's been a trial. But if it is indeed a situation where he is no longer the same, if he does lose this fight, he may never get back to this standard of Dubois again. So this could be a fight out of desperation. This could be a fight out of genuine necessity, not just for his own career, not just for his ability to be successful, not just for his ability to be able to be a champion, which, again, we all want and need, absolutely. But at the same time, the ability to stay this version of Dubois, to retain this level of confidence, to retain this level of outright bravado, outright dominating attitude of I'm better than you, and I know it, and you know it. The way he talked to the likes of Anthony Joshua, the way he just stepped into the ring in front of Usyk and give me my shot. He wants everything because he feels he can conquer the world because this is a new him. But if it doesn't stay and it's not successful, that's what I was trying to say. If it's not successful against Joseph Parker, and he loses again after building himself up like he did, it's going to be hard. My gosh, it's going to be hard. It's going to be so difficult. It's going to be so difficult. I don't want that for him. But my gosh, it's a possibility. It's a real possibility. And so, shoot, man, there's a lot on the line for a lot of these fights. There's a lot on the line for a lot of these fights. Zhang versus Kabayel. A genuine situation. Kabayel beats Zhang. He's back in top 10 contention. Not even back. He is more than in top 10 contention. Most likely people putting that brother in top 5. If he beats Zhang, he's top 8 to top 5 for heavyweight contention. He's then 1 or 2 fights away from potentially becoming a mandatory for a title. With how he's being pushed and how his talent indeed is. And beating somebody like a Zhang, who still, from a power and technical standpoint, can give anybody in the heavyweight division a boatload of trouble. Everybody. From Dubois to Parker to Joshua to Fury to Usyk. Don't matter who. The only thing that's problem with him is stamina, but like we already covered. Kabayel beats him, insane. Kabayel loses, stock's going to take a hit. He can still recover. Again, one loss ain't everything. But on the side of Zhang loses this fight after losing to Joseph Parker. After losing, even though he should have won, to Hergovich. Even though, yes, he beat Joe Joyce twice. And he knocked out Joe Joyce twice. One knockout was knockout of the year. The other one was a TKO loss. But regardless of which, let Joseph Parker slip through his fingers. And it could have been Joseph Parker. It could have been Zhang versus Dubois for the IBF heavyweight title. And finally getting a world championship opportunity. A legitimate world title opportunity at the age of 40, 41 years old. Time is winding up for the likes of Zhang. And Zhang is one of my favorite people of all, in terms of heavyweights, in this modern era of boxing. I love him. But if he loses this fight, most likely we won't see that opportunity again. We can kiss people like Daniel Dubois versus Zhang goodbye. We can kiss the likes of AJ, or well, maybe not AJ versus Dubois, or maybe not AJ versus Zhang, because that fight could still indeed happen. Because AJ coming off a loss. So we could see that fight happen. But Zhang versus Usyk, no longer. Zhang versus Tyson Fury, well, Tyson Fury's retired. And so just to even sniff that opportunity, he would have to get a belt in the first place. He would have to become the champion in the first place. Done. And so a lot of these opportunities, it's like Zhang is still in the running to make himself a stigma in this show. A stigma in this whole regime of the heavyweight division. Because he still is a major threat. But my gosh, a loss for him is going to be so much more detrimental due to the fact that age, the next generation already coming up, and with the losses he's already taken, it's do or die. And now he's going up against another hot contested prospect. It is do or die now when it comes to the likes of Zhang, Big Bang Zhang. If we're going to see if we can succeed, but if not, we're going to see what happens. Where is Floyd Kid Austin? He didn't show up to the grand arrival. Is he hanging? Is he having weight issues? Is he canceling the fight, or are we not? Or is he canceling the fight and we're not being told yet? So we are seeing the voice of pay-per-view disaster. That's actually a good question. Hold on, let me look it up real quick. Hold on, give me 1 second. Let's get to the bottom of this. Because you know what? I was watching the Grand Arrivals. We were doing this whole show during the Grand Arrivals, getting everybody excited for one of the greatest pay-per-view events of all time. Hence why we started when we started. But yeah, I didn't see the butt of it. I didn't. In fact, let me make sure. Unless it was quick and he just said a few words and then walked off, I didn't see him there. I didn't see him there at all. I'm trying to see, did we in fact not see him at the Grand Arrivals? Shoot, where's the trusty thing that we always use? Twitter. That's what we need to go through. Twitter. Let me look up real quick as we're talking. But no, hopefully, I'll tell you this, hopefully he ain't having no issues. I hope so. I think it's too late to cancel because I don't think if they have a replacement, they ain't told anybody. So I don't know who would in fact be the replacement for Floyd Schofield if in fact something like that did happen. Because I I don't know. Let's see. In fact, let me pull up the thing that we do best on this show. It's time to go into picture in picture. Yeah, buddy. Yeah. God dang it, shoot, it didn't work. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on, time out. Wait a minute. Wait a second. Hold on. Let me pull it up correct. I keep forgetting to select the page before I pull this up. Let's try this one more time. Now it's time to go in to picture in picture. Yeah, buddy. Baboom. Let's see what this guy had to say. Floyd Schofield did not show up to the grand rivals in Riyadh season. His trainer and father, Floyd Sr., claims that Junior was poisoned. Hold on. Junior was poisoned by snack? And Shakur Stevenson's masseuse? Schofield is scheduled to face Stevenson this Saturday. Wait, hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. Something about this. They poisoned my son. Is this snack work? Shakur messaged Lady White the Cream on. See? All right now. See? I think this is more trolling as we're going through. Hassan, who's very popular on boxing Twitter, Floyd Schofield says that Shakur Stevenson spiked his son's food. This isn't something to take lightly, Senior. I'm not trying to play no games. I got love for y'all and looking out, but they spiked your son. Who? My son didn't eat nowhere to get spiked. Who the world? I'm sorry. Wait a minute. I'm trying to figure this out. Who in the world? So apparently, rumor has it that Schofield's been spiked. My gosh. My goodness. I'll tell you, we wearing this sound out. Now, is this valid? I don't know. Is this legitimate? I don't know. Is this, again, like the rustication? No way. Again, I'm breaking this stuff to you. I'm breaking this stuff to you all right now. I'm serious. I'm trying to figure out what in fact is going on. Because this, I don't know, like, is this real? Why would they do this in the first place? Shakur Stevenson and that whole squad, we can complain about how he fights inside the ring, but he ain't done nothing outside to, like, underhandedly. Normally the reputation is pristine when it comes to, from what I understand, from surrounding the boxing world. Everything's on the up and up and legitimate. Why would his whole squad all of a sudden go through and try to do something like this? Could this be genuinely another situation of just straight up trolling? Could this be more straight up trolling? Not even trying to be like underhanded. Genuinely just trying to get under the mind of Schofield and of Shakur and his old team. Because remember, they've said before that Schofield and his dad, they've been trolling Shakur the whole time about the whole stuff about the camp and all this, all that other stuff. Shakur was on an interview and was like, "Yeah, my dad's trolling. We've been trolling. Everybody trolls each other all the time. We just wanted to get the fight. Now that we got the fight, it's time to get down to business. None of the other stuff is going on." So again, all this looks bad. No question about it. And again, as we're going through, I'm scrolling to make sure that nothing else is going on. Refreshing pages and all to make sure that, yeah, we are on the up and up when it comes to this. But this could genuinely be a situation where, yeah, Schofield is just trying to he may be trying to get under the skin. Some people are saying that he's scared. Some people are saying like it's like, what's this? Oh, I thought he said it wasn't defending the title. Okay. I thought he was saying he wasn't defending the WBC title at a lightweight on that night. Okay, excuse me. I got scared. And so, but we're trying to like, maybe it is weight. It legitimately could be weight. And they're using this as a means to go on and hide the fact. It could be means to go on and hide the issue that Floyd that he's struggling. Or more mind games on the side of Floyd Schofield and his father, more specifically, in order to get the likes of Shakur uncomfortable, not worried about the fight. preoccupied with everything else under the sun. Concerned for his own team, concerned for his own camp, concerned for his own entourage. Fighting off a stigma that is negatively put on him just to be able to go into the ring and not as focused as he needs to be. That is indeed what all this could be. Let's not act like that this is a legitimate situation, that this isn't something that is out the question. Let's see. Passport situation. Well, let's look into it right now, shall we? Let us delve into the world. Let's go for let's see, that's January 16th, January 16th. The only passports I am seeing are from earlier in last month. So in terms of the immediate, I am not seeing anything of note that is showing that is the case as of right now. Again, I could be wrong. Wholeheartedly, I could be wrong. I'm just giving you the facts that I'm seeing right now. The only thing I'm seeing on social media and on Twitter over the past 30 minutes to an hour has been 26 minutes ago. And then when I search Floyd Schofield passport, the only passport situations I see is January 16th and beyond. When, hey, they were desperate. And so, seemingly they're in the country. For everything I've gathered, they're in the country. So I don't know if the passport situation is valid or not. Again, speaking everything in speculation. Everything all right. Right now, everything is coming to light. And we're all trying to figure out what indeed is the end-all, be-all, and what's the real deal. That's what we're trying to establish. Also, if you haven't already, follow me on Twitter. If you haven't seen me on Twitter, this is, how do I pull up Twitter? Where's my Twitter page? Hey, it's in my Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. Go ahead, leave a follow. So, shameless plug aside, but in all seriousness, I'm not seeing anything when it comes to a passport. And the only thing I'm seeing as recent as possible is, in fact, the Floyd Schofield, him getting poisoned. And as we see here, screenshot of the tweet, deposing my son is a snap work. Shakur massage lady wiped the cream on my son. So we don't know. We genuinely don't know. Now, if it is underhanded, if it is a concern, let's say hypothetically this is true. Well, my gosh, does this show that Floyd is a bigger threat than we thought? If, again, I'm only saying if in fact this is a real thing, or if it's all a facade. If in fact this is real, that we're seeing Shakur going through all this stuff underhandedly, or is it a situation where, hey, maybe Shakur really feels that this is a legitimate fear? He's got to do some underhanded tactics. Again, we've been surprised before by some people that we thought were clean. Next thing you know, boom, pop dirty. Whether it's drugs or anything else. So, don't know. But listen, I think it's also a troll. See, and that's really what I'm thinking. That is really what I'm thinking. I'm really thinking this is another troll. They have been doing this. His father has been doing this all fight long. His father has been doing this for fights that aren't even big fights. When it comes to trolling, when it comes to being, I don't want to say a nuisance, when it comes to being somebody that is incredibly volatile in the landscape of promoting fights and causing a shakeup in the world of this boxing regime to get his son on the map, which I understand from a father-son perspective. You want to make sure you put your son in the best position. How do you do that? There's plenty of different ways, but this is one of them. But as of right now, the biggest thing that we know about this whole situation, if for those of you who are just tuning in, we see right now Floyd Schofield did not show up to the grand arrivals in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. His trainer and father, Floyd Sr., claims that Jr., or Floyd Schofield, Kid Austin, was poisoned by snack and Shakur's masseuse. And Floyd is scheduled again to face Stevenson on Saturday. And as you can see, for those of you who are just tuning in, with the tweet, they poisoned my son, is the snack Shakur massage lady wiped the cream on my son. So all of this is as a saying, where is it a troll or is it real? For those of you who are just tuning in. And I think it's a troll. I think it's a wholehearted troll. I don't think this is something, again, based on what we know about the likes of Turkey Al Sheikh and all the runnings and ruminations that we've seen from the likes of Turkey, everything has been legitimate and nothing has been on like underhand from what I've been able to see track record wise. I doubt that under his watch this would be something that would happen. And if anything, why in the world are you using the same masseuse if you did go to a massage parlor? Why are you using the same masseuse that Shakur would use? The only reason it would be that I could speculate would be that it is accommodations made for all boxers to be able to get the care that they need under the tenure of this Riyadh season. Shakur then goes and the same masseuse is the same masseuse for everybody. That's what I would assume with how we've seen Turkey go and take care of everybody under the card. Everybody under his fight regime. Anybody who's associating with him. Even if they're not directly signed under him, if you're fighting on his card, you are indeed taken care of. Again, I'm not trying to play favorites. I'm not trying to hype up somebody. I'm not trying to paint Turkey as some savior or whatever. I'm saying the track record of what we've seen from the likes of Turkey and everybody under Riyadh season. This is something that isn't new. This isn't something that is new. This is something that we all know, that we've seen, that we have all witnessed consistently. So yeah, do we think that this is something that could happen? Potentially. But genuinely, I think this is just a troll. I really do think this is just a troll. We're going to see Kid Austin come, unless it's a weight issue that he's just trying to hide. We're going to see Kid Austin come through. We're going to see Kid Austin either A, be weight drained. That's the only big legitimate speculation I can witness. Or B, be just fine. Talk smack to the likes of Shakur. Get in his head or try to get in his head. Do all that stuff. And then bing, bang, boom. The fight's on like nothing happened. Maybe we see Shakur outbox in the Kingdom Cup. Maybe we see Floyd pull off the upset. Who knows? But I don't think this is. I'm calling the bluff. I'll call the bluff. I don't think this is real. I'll call the bluff, and I don't think this is real. I will call their bluff, and I don't think this is real. I don't think that's really what happened. I genuinely don't think that's what would happen. There's no way. Everything, it doesn't even make sense logically as to why that would be the case. It doesn't, because there's so many questions. One, why are you using the same masseuse as Shakur? And if you are, that would be it would have to be the same masseuse that would be provided by Turkey Riyadh season and the people putting it on in Saudi Arabia. Because I doubt they will let anything outside of them go and mess up the investment that they put into the sport. Two, if it is the same masseuse, and most likely it's not under the same banner of Riyadh season, why the world would you be going to outside sources that are using what the accommodations have inside of Riyadh season, which I know they would have provided? And C, how do you know that that's the same masseuse? And if you did, knowing that's who he used, why would you then go and use the same thing? It has so many questions. It's so, the more you think, the more you ask. And the more you ask, dots don't add up. And when dots don't add up, stuff like this, like this, has us really questioning whether or not this is something that is actually valid. No, I don't think it is. I really don't think it is. And so, if this is indeed all fake and facade, you're making a bunch of noise and rah-rah for nothing. Now, if you lose with all this, and this is another, let me tell you something, if this is another ploy by Schofield's dad just to drum up stuff for the fight. This is a bad way to do it. Oh, this is a horrible way to do it. This is a terrible way to do it. This is not good promotion. This doesn't help us get invested. It's not even believable. This isn't even believable for somebody to do, because of all the questions that would not make sense when you look at the context of the entire situation. This ain't even wrapped gloves. This ain't even he gave a gift to me, or hey, they dapped up, he gave me some food out of his pocket. I got sick. Now, boom, I'm poisoned. Shakur poisoned me. We got an issue. It's not even like that in the slightest. It's straight up. It's not like, it's not adding up. It's not, investigate, you're right. It's nothing about this is adding up in the slightest. If this is hyping up a fight, this doesn't have us hyped. This just has us confused. More so concerned. Like could be a built-in excuse. Exactly. Built-in excuse if they do lose. And it doesn't have us more excited for, oh, Schofield's going to get his get back. Or, oh my gosh, I can't believe Shakur would do something like that. Maybe Floyd Schofield is a bigger risk than we all anticipated. It doesn't even have us asking those types of questions. The only thing it has us asking is genuinely, why in the world would you do this? Why are you using the same masseuse? Why are you not using the stuff given by Turkey al-Sheikh, which is indeed most likely of the highest order, with how he's been doing all of this stuff during the tenure of being and doing Riyadh season with all of his boxers? And why are you tracking the same thing that your opponent's using if you knew that, hey, he might pull something? Nothing adds up. And the only thing is, it makes us more concerned that maybe you're hiding something. It makes us more concerned that we're not going to get the fight that we want to have because you are potentially hiding something from the likes of us. And you have us now thinking that, man, you have us now thinking that you got a problem. You struggling to make weight. You ain't going to be prepared for the fight. It's going to be a legitimate situation where you get washed. And now the only thing we can say is, well, you lean back on, I got robbed. I got beat internally. Somebody cheated. And now you're going down the Devin Haney route. And if you go down the Devin Haney route, well, oh boy. My gosh. My goodness.
Hey, look at this. We got some problems here.
Oh.
We got some problems here.
Oh my gosh. If this leads to going down the Devin Haney route of suing, hypothetically, look, my goodness. We've gone through this whole diatribe once before. I don't want to go through this again. I don't want to deal with that again. I can't stand. Are you kidding me? I do not want that sullying what could be a legitimately phenomenal card. There's no reason for that to be the case. Floyd, if this all comes out to be fake, which I'm almost assured that it's going to come out, you got to win. You have to win. You can't lose. You can't lose. Now, you can't. And if your father is using this as a plot point to get interest with a fight, you're digging your son's own grave. You're digging your son's own demise. You're helping your son fail. You are helping the person you care about the most, you are helping their downfall. You are helping their ability to be ostracized from the boxing community. Because by proxy of them not liking you, they're not going to like them. And if they lose, you're going to be seen, your son is going to take the full brunt of all of this, not you. His son wants to fight. His son is respectable. Not saying his father isn't, but I'm saying these types of happenings they reflect on your son, even though they may not do anything. They reflect on your offspring. They reflect on your fighter. They reflect on your protege, because he's both the father and trainer. And did we not have this conversation? Rusty Cage, you might not have been here. We've had this conversation before. When it comes to boxing and families, we are living in a time when, yes, training and being, and also, if you didn't know, we're in the championship round, so we can chat about anything and everything in this last half of the show, because I've covered everything on my end. Let's not forget that. If you're new and tuned in, welcome to the Welch Report. We're in the last 30 minutes to an hour. Whatever you want to discuss, chat it in the thing below. We can talk about it right here, right now. Whether it's boxing, whether it's football, basketball, sports, you name it. We're here. Absolutely. But when we're talking about the likes of Schofield and Shakur and fathers and sons training each other, we've had this conversation before. This is yet another example. Like with T.O. and his father, Devin Haney and Bill Haney. Sean Porter and his father, or the likes of now Schofield Jr. and Schofield Sr. When you do these types of stuff as a trainer and more specifically as a boxer, it weighs on your son more than you may expect. This is not a situation. In some situations, like in a way, in his dad, it works out flawlessly. In some situations, like early Teofimo Lopez and his dad, even though his dad was still talking about the smack, it was still, they worked in the ring, worked great up until he didn't. Then he had to go back and retool and regroup. Now he's training under Eddie Reynoso. But now with Floyd, Schofield Jr. and Sr., you're writing checks that your son's got to cash. You're doing outputs that your son's got to back up. Your son has to win to keep everything that you're saying on the up and up. Yes, you want to push your son's career, but at what cost? I'm not saying that you don't need to be marketable. Yes, be marketable. No question, be marketable. Make yourself known to the public domain of the boxing world. Make yourself stand out. Love that. No, I would never disrespect that. But what I can also look at and say is bad is you doing this is going to put your son in a position that if he doesn't pull it off, as well as if at this stage in his career, it's gonna beyond you. It's gonna fall heavy on him. It's gonna fall heavy on him. He's gonna lose opportunity. He's gonna lose interest. He's gonna just get hate because they don't like you. And that's going to lead to everybody getting stunted in their growth on the side of the Schofield regime. And that ain't good. That ain't good at all. Especially when you're pulling up potential lies like this. That I doubt his son at any part in the slightest. It's a dangerous game. And we've seen it play before. Some cases it's played great. And in others, not so much. Not so much at all. Not so much at all. And so, it's going to be bad. It could legitimately be bad. And so, one more thing. Did you all see Terrence Crawford's interview with or about Gervonta Davis? I believe it's on, what was it, Cigar Talk? Was it Cigar Talk? I believe it was Cigar Talk that he had about. And essentially Crawford saying, I don't like the brother in the slightest. I don't like Gervonta Davis as a person at all. He's one of the best boxers, absolutely. But as a person, I don't like him. And specifically because of how he operates outside or with what he has at his disposal. Meaning the shielding, the money, using all of it to make him seem untouchable. He knows the star that he is, but he's making himself seem out of reach of people that really he's not that out of reach of. Separating himself and ostracizing himself to some degree. Operating like a big shot. And yes, he is a big shot, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, has us asking questions about him as a person. Do you think you're bigger than better and better than you actually are? All that stuff. And then ending to say, he would fight at 154. He would fight at 147. He would fight all these at these higher weight classes, even 140, if he could choose the opponent. If he could choose who he fought, he would fight at these higher weight classes. But because he can't choose who he wants to fight, he was never going to fight at these. He's never going to fight at above these higher weight classes. Never fight at 154. He'll never fight at 147. He'll never fight at 140 because of that very sentiment. Again, these Terrence Crawford's words, not mine. I want to pull up the interview, but I can't find the specific. In fact, actually, I may be able to find the specific clip. Let me see. Let me see if I can find it real quick. If it is, I can pull it up for you all to talk about.
People may call him boring.
Is it here?
People may say
this ain't it. Hold on. Wait a minute. Wait 1 second. Give me some time.
Can't punch. But they said the same thing about Floyd. Because they defensive. Everything that Shakur have done.
I'm trying to find. I'm trying to find it. Give me 1 second.
Had like what, 2?
Yeah, I think 2.
Real feel like give that man enough time to train. And I respect Tank. I'm not saying Shakur have done fighters.
Yeah.
Different fighter. You
Well,
know,
I think
Shakur's
okay.
different. You know,
I think I got it.
he's one of the ones.
Yeah. No bias. Don't just say that.
One of the ones.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay. I think it's here. I could be wrong, but I think it's here. Here, take a listen. Here we go. Take a listen to exactly what Crawford had to say when it came to the likes of Tank.
We're gonna take his personality and personal things out of it. But boxing, he's definitely talented.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And he's definitely got that it. And yeah, he's definitely respected in boxing. But Shakur is a different fighter. You know, Shakur is different. You know, people may call him boring. People may say he can't punch. But they said the same thing about Floyd. Because they defensive fighters.
Yeah.
Tank is not going to be able to hit Shakur like he hit everybody else. And he know that. He knows that. That's why he's like, he's boring. He's this, he's that. He's trying to diminish everything that Shakur have done so it's not marketable. But he can't do that because Shakur is what, a 3-weight world champion?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
WBC right
like how many actual real titles have Shakur? I mean, Tank had like what, 2?
Yeah, I think 2. He got
real,
the WBA right
real
now.
titles.
The real one.
You know, and Pedraza, he drank Pedraza. And,
That's what Keystone said. But I feel like if you're the A side, you get the, like, you know what I'm saying?
I'm just saying, but like, like let's do it on a even playing field. Like, give that man enough time to train. You know what I mean? Like, come on now. Tank is great for what he do, and I respect Tank in the ring and his skills and his power and his attribute and he's smart.
Yeah,
he's definitely smart. He can box his ass off, and I'm not saying I would pick Shakur just because our differences. I'm telling you as a fighter.
Yeah,
I will pick Shakur because I don't believe Tank will be able to.
And there you go. I believe, now again, Shakur Talk had the whole podcast or had the whole interview with him. One of the hottest ones out there. Please go look at it for yourself. He did talk about also the likes of how Tank moves more in depth. I believe earlier in that podcast talked about what I just said recently about how why he would never move up to the higher weight classes because he can't pick his opponent. He talks about all that in that one. But this specific clip, what I couldn't find, the one I was trying to say, brings up a very good point. Brings up a very good question. Do you agree with the likes of Terrence Crawford? Not Terrence Crawford. Do you agree with the likes of oh yeah. Do you agree with the likes of Terrence Crawford? Do you agree with the likes of Terrence Crawford that if Shakur did fight against Tank, that Shakur wouldn't be able to win? Or that Tank wouldn't be able to win? That's a genuine question. Because now, you just heard from one of the best in the world, one of the greatest minds in the sport today. Tank wouldn't be able to beat Shakur because he wouldn't be able to touch Shakur. Genuine. And again, this is Terrence Crawford saying this. This ain't me saying this. These are his words, not mine. And because that's the case, now we have to look and say, while we all assume that Shakur, because of his defensive acumen, would be something that would give Tank his toughest test. However, if in fact Shakur is who we think he is, maybe he is the man that can beat him. But what we all assumed was Tank being Tank. Oh, he'll be able to cut him off. He'll catch him eventually, and then boom. But like we normally see as the rounds get later and later, he will end him like he's done with every single opponent. Shakur ain't got nothing that can give Tank any real need to worry. Anyone need to be scared? Anyone need to be hesitant? Hence, what's the concern? Why should I care about the likes of Tank or about the likes of Shakur if Shakur can't do anything to make me scared? Hence, Tank should be able to just run through it. But now hearing from arguably, pound for pound, the best in the world in the likes of Terrence Crawford, he says that Shakur would be able to beat Tank. And Tank knows it. Because Tank knows he won't be able to touch him. And if Tank can't touch you, and he can't apply the power that we all know he has at his disposal, well, then he's beatable. And so, I'm not going to say that I agree with him fully. But I do believe that this gives me a sign that, yeah, maybe we are, to a degree, underestimating really how good Shakur is if we see the likes of Terrence Crawford talking about him like we do. Because again, you gotta understand, every boxer doesn't always know what they're talking about. We've seen that countless times before. This is like with every NBA player. Just because you play ball don't mean that you can play the game, but you may not know the game. And some people that can't play the game know the game. We've seen it. Some people, it's both. Some people, it's neither. They can't play the game, nor can they know the game. Everybody that has been or is in the sport doesn't always know about the sport or isn't knowledgeable about the sport. It's the truth. That's not to disparage. That's the reality of what we witness when we look at the landscape of boxing and just sports as a whole. You've heard it. Shoot, go to Gil's Arena. From Nick Young, Brandon Jennings, McCants, Kenyon Martin, Gilbert Arenas. There's a bunch of good knowledge out there, but in some cases, like with McCants, but I don't know what he's talking about. But he played the game. And so, but there are few people in boxing that I take real solace in hearing their opinions. Not just because of who they are and what they've achieved, but also because of what they are as a mental savant when it comes to not just history, but the current landscape of boxing now. And Terrence is one of them. And if Terrence is saying that Shakur Stevenson legitimately can and would beat the likes of Tank if they did fight against each other, then it would not be out the question to say that, to buy into it. Because if this brother's saying, if this cat's saying it full force, unapologetically, and he's not a buddy that minces words, and most of the time when he said somebody's going to do something, they did it. And he was right. And with what we know about him as a fighter in his own right, it's tough for me to say that, hey, you ain't got to agree, but you can't deny something's got to be real about it. There's got to be some level of legitimacy. If Crawford in this very interview is saying that, yeah, Shakur would beat him. We can't just gloss over Shakur being too little. Shakur not having power. Shakur not having the ability to punch. Shakur can't do anything to hurt Tank. We can't just use that as the only means to say that, yeah, because of that reason alone, Tank is going to be able to mock the Floyd. No, that ain't the truth. And let's look a little bit deeper into it. When we look at the landscape of Shakur and Tank, if they did fight against each other, track record-wise, we know what the end of the fight is. For Tank, it's almost always ended in knockout. However, getting there is always the biggest thing that we always, I don't want to say lament, but we've accepted as part of the game plan. But because he's had power, it's worked every time. And that's figuring out how to knock you out. Genuinely, that's been the biggest thing. And that has also been one of the biggest Achilles heels in some respects to Tank. He's still one of the best minds in the sport. He's still one of the best boxers in the sport. He is still a boxer that is indeed, from a talent perspective, top 3 in the world. No problem admitting that. But the reality of the situation, Tank being Tank, gives up a lot of rounds because he's got to figure you out before he takes you out. It's not just going in and making a game plan or just, boom, going in and beating you outright. Just go and make it happen right then and there. There's time and development he's got to take to make a plan of action. And in that time, he loses rounds, both willingly and in some cases unwillingly. And against bad boxers, like the likes of Rolly Romero, he was able to get touched up. He lost, what was it, 5-6 rounds? He did indeed lose a good portion of those, if not all of them, from Rolly Romero. Not just because there was power, but because, hey, it took a while for him to figure it out. Because of the athleticism, the physicality. Yes, the power, but also the intangibles that, I hate to admit it, Rolly's got some that has to have you respect him. Now you put that up against somebody who they may not have the pop, just as physical. They can get out the way and be as fast. Jabs like lightning. IQ is at worst on par with the likes of Tank. If slightly lower, it's still the most IQ-driven fighter that Tank would have ever faced. And defensively, he's a god. You ain't got to like it. It's real. I don't like it, but it's still real. He is a defensive god in this sport when it comes to not getting hit. Opponents not being able to come out the ring. Having the ability to render his opponents, even when he's literally unarmed, brittle hands and all. Being able to still make his opponents look foolish by getting out the way. Call it running, call it whatever. Nobody's been able to stop it. And it's, again, outside of the De Los Santos fight, it's just been strictly defensive. It ain't been running. It's been defensively almost near perfect. Lowest percentage of accuracy in the whole of the boxing regime. All weight classes, pound for pound. He's a technical maestro when it comes to this squared circle. It's not a fluke. It's not. So we got to give some credit where credit is due. There is a real situation that, hey, I'm not saying that Tank wouldn't still beat him. But if Crawford's saying that with his whole chest, then we got to buy into some degree that I think we may have been shortchanging the likes of Shakur. We may be shortchanging the likes of Shakur Stevenson. What's up? How you doing? What's up, Adam Hurley? Thank you for tuning in to the show. Appreciate you tuning in and listening. No question about it. Thank you for coming on this afternoon. Been here for a good minute. Glad that you come in here for the last 30 minutes of the show. I'd love to see you do an interview with a boxer, Mr. Welch. Well, you know what? I would love to as well. Oh, it would be phenomenal. I would ask hard-hitting questions. I wouldn't make I wouldn't make the mistake that another social media podcaster made when they were interviewing Bomac and get myself ostracized. If you know who I'm talking about, you know I would make sure I don't make that mistake. If you know who I'm talking about in a recent interview with the Boxing Voice and others. But hey, I would do it the best I can. I think it would be fun. I think it would be a joy because I would ask hard-hitting questions. I would take questions from you all. I wouldn't mince words about it. And you know what? If I ever did an interview, be prepared. Adam Hurley and anybody else listening, if I ever did an interview, and it's going to happen. One day it's going to happen. Oh, we're going to be big. We're going to be global. We're going to be undeniable. We're going to have interviews left, right, and center with everybody, not just in the boxing world, but all across the globe. Absolutely. It's going to be a can't miss show. But if I did an interview, it would be something that's a conversation beyond just, you've seen the interview, so you know the one I'm talking about. And so I'm not gonna name who made the mistake, but I'm not gonna, because again, I don't put nobody's business out there. We trying to be reputable. But you know, if you saw it, you know, you know who had to stay quiet because they tried to be funny in the wrong sense, and because of that, we'll say Bomac put his foot down. We'll say that to someone today. Oh, hey, what's up, Al Booger? Appreciate you. How you doing? And Adam Hurley, I'm about to get to you. Appreciate you joining in. How you doing? Good, thanks for calling the fights. Hey, man, no problem. I love doing it. It's a joy to do it. Do y'all want me to call the last crescendo from 11 o'clock all the way up until probably 8 at night? going through how many fights? 8, 7 fights on the card. If y'all want me to do it, hey, I'll put out a poll. Be sure to vote or comment right here in the chat. Let me know. Let me get the temperature of the room. And if y'all want me to call that fight, I'll call the fight. Absolutely. Because that's a fight. I don't want to miss that. I don't want to miss that. I could go out and see it, but my gosh, if we get people here and we can call it on the night of the fight, we'll make it happen. Okay, so we got a yes. Hey, all right then. We got one. I appreciate it. And don't worry, I'll put out a poll. We'll have it throughout the week, and we'll see what the people got to say. But we got one yes. We got one yes right now. And if we can make it happen, and everybody else also agrees, again, I don't want to go against the public. Again, it's your show as much as it is mine. But if y'all wanted to make it happen, we can call another fight. No question about it. Absolutely. And I'll be a little better with my play-by-play call. I listening back. Again, I'm calling every punch, literally every punch that is being thrown as if I'm on radio, which again it's difficult. I love doing it, but my gosh, it can be a little bit overwhelming when I'm listening back at it. I'll try to tweak how I go about it to make it a little bit more interactive, as well as still digestible, but as intuitive, and not intuitive is the wrong word, as much in detail as I can. But hey, if y'all want me to do it, I'll do it. But in terms of going back to your response, if I did an interview, it would be a conversation. It would be a situation where it would be more than just me asking questions. It would be, we are, just like I'm talking to you all, I'm talking to y'all. And it would be a genuine situation where, hey, I ask questions, I get your opinion, piggyback, jump off, go a different route, let the interview take whatever. I got my core questions, sure. Let the interview ebb and flow how it needs to be, and we talk. If I don't agree with something, bring it up. Hey, this is how I feel when you say this, da-da-da-da-da-da. Now, in your response, what do you got to say? Because I think what we, when it comes to interviewing, a lot of times what we miss, it's not just about asking the question. Yeah, completely understand. Learning about the person, getting them to open up about themselves, essentially peeling back a layer to help the audience see a different side or perspective or mentality of the person that they're interested in. Absolutely, no question. But on the flip side, there is a level of how do we say this correctly? When you interview, you don't want it to just be as if it's just a business. You want them to feel like you want them to feel like more than you're just here to ask questions. You want to make them feel as though you're interested in them beyond just what they do, who they are, what makes them who they are, why they became who they are, and going beyond just surface level and going beyond just the appearance, not appearance, going beyond just the top shelf stuff. Dig deeper. Question them if you need to question them. Make them face stuff that maybe they haven't been asked for. Give them an opportunity to answer and push back on things that, hey, some people, they just ask the thing they ask the question. Like somebody asked Shakur, what was it? Somebody asked Shakur about something with Floyd Schofield. And it was like, no, somebody asked Tank. It was Tank. Somebody asked Tank about something when it came to Shakur. And it was like, it was a good question, absolutely. But the way it was presented, it was kind of like, I'm going to get him with this. And then kind of just move. Fake. That's what I'm looking for. Some of these interviews seem fake. Not fake from the standpoint of it's not a real interview, but fake from the standpoint of the interviewer. Not calling out names. Not giving anybody any flack, but genuine. I wouldn't want to be there. And so I would do my best to try to be more so deliberate and make this feel like, yeah, we're here for boxing, but we also here for you. And we want to ask you stuff that not just the fans have, but that I have. That are like, hey, with what you know, more in detail than just the top shelf stuff, tell me how you feel. And if I feel a different way, tell me why I'm right or wrong, to give me an even deeper perspective on what you are thinking, and to help me be better when I am talking through your career or the landscape of boxing as a whole. Because there's a lot of questions that I think people, that people, they don't ask, but they would, if they did ask, it would be seen as you'll get a better informed, not just a better informed interview, but a smarter audience, rather than just going with the clickbait stuff, which is necessary. Love that. We need that. Sure. The big questions that are, oh my gosh, are you stepping on toes? Yeah, I get that. But beyond that, you can go deeper. You can face their responses with questions that delve deeper into their answer. You can go and you can open up about the deeper meaning as to why they like or don't like somebody, why they can or can't be somebody. Ask the questions about, hey, are you sure you can take the power or take the technical ability of rah, rah, rah? Because when we watched you against da-da-da-da-da, you struggled. And that's not me being, fake or picking sides. That's the truth of the matter. You did struggle. Was it, why was that? And if they give a reason, okay, we see that, but to counterpoint, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then it helps bleed into more and more questions. Everything can be deeper without having to be seen as just baiting. And I think that's what I don't like. That's what I want to do. Hopefully when we get there, it'll make it happen. And it'll be great. It'll be great. It'll be great. I see the next Radio Raheem. Hey, if it happens, great. If it happens, great. No problem with that. Absolutely. I love it. I would absolutely love it. And hopefully the biggest thing, and again, I'm not trying to go on my own tangent, but the biggest thing is for anybody who does an interview, you want it to be, at least for me, you want to make them want to stay. Beyond just having good questions, beyond just having good topics, you want to make whoever you're interviewing want to be there longer. You want them to say, man, I wish I had more time. Can I come back? Not just because of the questions, but because of how you make them feel. How you make them not just, you don't want to make somebody seem as just a prop or used. You want to make them feel like, yeah, no, you are the attraction. And we're trying to grow, learning about you. More than just, oh, you're here, you'll make big numbers. Because when you do that, you get in a relationship. When you get in a relationship, now opens up so many more doors for so many more opportunities beyond just the immediate interview and beyond just the questions you ask at that point in time. That brings scoops, that brings news, that brings all this different stuff, that brings a legitimate rapport. Because hopefully everybody I interview, I want to be a legitimate friend with. That would be a great thing. It's a long shot, but hey, that would be great. Imagine me with Terrence Crawford's phone number, and then boom, hey, how you doing? Great fight. Oh, it'd be great. Next thing you know, George Foreman get an interview. Next thing you know, Mike Tyson Fury, Usyk. All of a sudden, I'm able to interview Usyk before his last fight. Moses Atuma wants to get involved with me. I even get Eddie Hearn. And I don't even know a whole bunch about the promotion side. And I can just question him on what I know and see if I can pick his brain. See if there's some hypocrisy. No, I'm kidding. But genuinely be able to have an opportunity to see, hey, this cat's real. And so that would be great. That would be great. And that's a great way to look at it. And absolutely. Because again, the whole point of this is what you guys deserve. It's beyond just me having fun. It's beyond just, I love doing this. I want this to be my career. No question, whether it's here or on the big screen. But it's because of what you all deserve. You all deserve the ability to have that level of legitimate insight and exposure. I don't know everything. No question. Every prediction I have could be right or wrong. There's people that are more knowledgeable than me on multiple topics. Rummy's Corner, phenomenal boxing channel. Shoot, King of the Fourth Quarter, Kenny for real, got the same brother. When it comes to basketball, it's showbiz. Pioneer right now in the world of social media, coming into the world of boxing and being one of the faces right now of the media landscape. Getting interviews with Beterbiev, getting interviews with the likes of Teddy Atlas, all this. He doing his own, and more credit to him. Happy. He showed that it's possible. Helped paving the way and put in a lot of work doing it. And so hopefully, maybe I'll get there soon. Maybe it'll take some time. Don't matter when. I do this because that's what you all deserve. This show is because, sure, do I want to make money? Oh, no question. Am I trying to be big house and big car? No question. But more than that, or just as much, excuse me. Just as much, I'm not going to lie. Just as much. This show is to make content that I would have wanted when I was growing up. Give me a perspective that if I was growing as a fanatic, I could be and learn from whoever I was listening to. In a manner that maybe I wasn't hearing all the time, except for a couple shows. Beyond just surface level, explain to me in detail. So yeah, I can be long-winded. Sometimes I go over time. Sometimes I'm way out of left field. But it's because we're trying to cultivate an environment that, hey, you're getting more than just the top shelf stuff. We're trying the best of our ability. We try to think deeper. I may be right. I may be wrong. But we attempt. And when we attempt to think deeper, even if I'm wrong, forces you and me to make sure that we fact check. Go back. Look at things in different perspective. Notice different stuff. The ins and outs of boxing. Trends and different types of narratives that get sewn in. All this stuff. It's great. And so that's what we're trying to do. Telling the story of boxing and telling the story of the sports world correctly. Like I said before, I'm trying to be an oracle, like they did in Greek mythology. Tell the story the right way. Give my predictions, all that stuff. But then at the end of the day, the best you can. Be as unbiased as possible. I'm a fan of fighters. I got my favorites, but I'm a fan of the sport as a whole. The best. And be as reputable and as reliable as possible so that you all can ensure that whatever I say on here, even if you don't agree, it is to the best of my ability to make sure that I'm telling the story of this sport, basketball, whatever the case we're talking about. Tell the story the right way. Because when you don't, that's when stuff gets skewed. And if you don't tell the story right, stuff gets lost in translation. And the true standard of greatness that we then go and compare other fighters, other athletes to, whether in boxing or out of boxing, all of that gets diminished because it's not upheld the same way or put in the proper context. And things get taken out of context. Hence, stuff now is viewed not where it's supposed to be. And greatness can't be quantified like it's properly supposed to be. And the next generation is working under a bar that isn't truly where it's supposed to be set. And hence, we can't appreciate their actual greatness when all's said and done because everything's taken in the wrong context. That's what I'm trying to do. Hopefully, I'm doing that on this show. But let's see. That Teddy Atlas interview had me dying. Showbiz was trying his hardest to get the word, to get a word. Hey, look, Teddy, look. That brother, I've listened to his podcast, The Fight with Teddy Atlas, since I think when I got to college. I think a little bit before when I got into college outright. And yeah, he'll go. He's passionate about it. He's absolutely passionate about it. And yeah, it's gonna be hard to get a word in. If it did happen, my gosh, it's gonna be hard to get a word in. That brother, he was fighting. He was being respectful. He was being nice. He was trying to get in questions, but let him talk. And how the interview went, it still was incredible to listen to because you got, even when he couldn't get it, because I know there was more stuff that Showbiz wanted to talk about. There was more topics that he wanted to get to. But even with what he did get, he never let it get to him that I didn't hit all my points. Instead, let the knowledge flow. And naturally, we'll get back on track to where we need to be. And eventually that's what happened. And next thing you know, him and Showbiz, he was like, hey, I like you. Like, you ain't a bad cat. And so now they're gonna have more time. Most likely to have another interview, another conversation. And next thing you know, everybody's gonna be seeing them together more often. And now, boom, you'll be able to ask those questions and more. Because now you were seeing as, okay, you get what I'm trying to put down. You understand this more than just where I normally talk to people. You get this more than what other people try to. You understand this on a similar level than that I do. So I don't got to have a facade of professionalism. I can be a little bit more real. Teddy Atlas is always real, but you know when somebody is being real, and they're still who they are, but then they let their guard down. Their personality shines up a little bit more. The comfortability gets a little bit more there. The personable nature of them translates in the interview. It becomes more engaging. All of a sudden, you're drawn into it more. The person's more invested in the conversation. They want to hear what you have to say. They're anticipating what you ask next, rather than just lamenting on whether or not the interview is going to end. That's what you want. That's what you want. And that's what I'm trying to get. No question about it. And so, yeah, it was a great interview. I'm probably going to listen to it again. And I can't wait to see what happens next. And we're going to have another show coming Thursday. Talking about all this and more. Don't get it twisted. But again, let's not forget, we still got 10 minutes, or roughly 10. We can go an extra 10 if we want to on this show. And it is still the championship rounds. Let's not lose sight of that fact in the slightest. We are still at an opportunity to talk about whatever you want to discuss on the show. If anybody has anything that they want to say in these last couple minutes of the show, speak now. Oh, yes, indeed. Have your arguments, have your conversations, have your debates, whatever you want to discuss about. We went on a tangent about Floyd earlier. That just I almost missed the whole conversation because I was in the midst of breaking down Schofield versus Shakur. And I thought I was going to hook him. Next thing you know, Floyd comes in, and all of a sudden 50-0, 49-0. Conor McGregor's fake. Floyd Mayweather lost to Castillo. No, he didn't. He spent all this with left, right, and center. Pandemonium. I loved it. But my gosh, well, I couldn't even cover it because we were trying to keep on track. But now, it's an open book. If anybody's got anything they want to say, talk about it right now in the chat. Put it in the conversation below. Have yourself a day with whatever debate, questions, concerns, comments, whether it's sports or beyond, movies, anime. Hey, dream matchups. The NBA, I believe, starts today. Lakers coming back on Wednesday, and most of the NBA is coming back on Wednesday. When it comes to getting into the second half of the season, as the playoffs and finals draw closer to it, to draw nigh, and everybody's looking to make a tangent or make a staple on their actual opportunity to get to a finals. Do you want to talk about Cleveland and how they can potentially come out the East to be legitimate finals contenders for the first time since the likes of LeBron being and leaving Cleveland? Do we think the Boston Celtics can get back right? Not saying that they're wrong, but get back into being the best team in the Eastern Conference and in all of the NBA? Are the Grizzlies not even a low, are the Grizzlies a legitimate dark horse? While they're second in the West, are they a legitimate dark horse to be seen as real finals contenders that can give any team out East or even some of the top teams out West a run for their money? There's a bunch of conversations. John Morant and Zach Edey, they've been working great. Jaren Jackson Jr. has been playing phenomenally. Denver is still fourth or fifth? No, they're fourth in the Western Conference, and this is a down year for them. Should Jokic win MVP, even with him not being first in the conference, but him having the best season he's had, arguably in his entire career? It's just a marvel. I'll call it right now, the modern day Wilt Chamberlain. I'm so serious, and I'll explain why if y'all want to go into detail. But listen, did you already cover the fights coming up this weekend? I did. I went through I broke down. I think you might have came in on the Bivol versus Beterbiev fight. That was the last fight I called. I went and covered everything, like everything. I went over every card. Or I think unless that's not the only card that's happening. Wait a minute. Hold up. Whoa. Hold on. Wait a second. Hold on. Is that happening this week? Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I was keeping track of everything. Wait a second. Let me shoot. Hold on a minute. Is this real? And excuse me, the NBA season ramps back up on Wednesday. So on tomorrow, the NBA season ramps back up. Don't tell me Nakatani's fighting tomorrow. Wait, hold on. Wait, whoa. Wait a second. Hold on. Wait 1 minute. Shoot. My gosh. Let me. Where's the boxing schedule? Hold on. Give me 1 second. I am trying my best. Here we go. Boxing schedule. Is that actually? Hold on. Wait. Is that actually Monday? February 22nd. Beterbiev Bivol. March 1st. Yep. Tank versus Lamont Welch. And we'll talk about it after. Shoot. We'll probably talk about that on Thursday. February 22nd. Beterbiev Bivol. Louis Neary's fighting again. Oh my gosh. And the 20. Okay. So excuse me. And Diego Higa. Oh shoot. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, my goodness. That's coming up Monday. Okay. That's coming up Monday. My gosh. Okay. So shoot. Shoot. Well, you know what? We're here. We might as well talk about it now. Let's go through it. Let's rock with it, shall we? Let's talk about Nakatani versus who was he facing off against? Who was he? Let's get the name. Oh my gosh, I was so locked into this. David Collier for Nakatani's WBC bantamweight title. Well, since what we expect from Junto Nakatani, I'm expecting this fight to happen, probably to be a knockout within. If Nakatani is, actually, no, we know he is who we think he is. Shoot, I'll say it in 3 rounds. Because that left-handed assassin is something to behold. You want to take lengthy as well as with a phenomenal jab. Power in both hands, specifically that left hand as a southpaw, is a deadly weapon, a deadly hammer in his domain. Has the ability to, again, continue to be he's an effortless boxer. He is an effortless boxer. And I don't say that about many. He is an effortless boxer. And David Collier is about to be another example of why we see this man truly be one of the best in the world. Pound for pound. Should be in everybody's top 10. Should be. No question in my mind. And mind you, remember, I said before, he said he wants at least one more fight at 120 before moving up to 122. It's either 1 or 2 more fights. And so since that's the case, this is going to be one of those fights. Defending his belt. It could, I'm telling you, if everything works out like we want, and we already know, I believe Inoue's already got a fight locked up in Vegas. But if everything works out like we want to happen, by the end of this year, with what we see with Inoue having his deal with Saudi Arabia, there is a legitimate opportunity that we could see Nakatani versus Inoue this year, probably in November. If we see Nakatani truly move up to 122, to super bantamweight, and finally we get the mega event that we all been waiting for. For those of you who have been following the bantamweight division, and been following Inoue, and been following Nakatani, and understand the absolute dog fight that this would be. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Oh shoot. Incredible. Nakatani can move up now if he wanted to. He's that great. I love it. I want to see it. And so the dominoes are getting closer and closer to falling. I think we're going to see Nakatani win in less than 5 rounds. No question. And I think we're going to see him knock him out. Knock out David Collier. Or Collier, excuse me. And then, again, like we keep on saying, the road to the mega fight is still approaching. And I think it's coming quicker than we all may expect. Be ready. Oh, get ready. Because when it comes down, oh my gosh, a sight to behold. An incredible sight to behold. Absolutely incredible. Utterly phenomenal. And I can't wait to see it all. I can't wait to see it all with you. Absolutely. And so, shoot. I think I think that's about it. And that's all we got to cover. I think that we've gone, almost 3 hours on this show? I think that's everything we can discuss. And I think it's time to wrap it up, don't you? And so with that being said, if you would go on to leave a like on the stream as we're getting ready to get out of here. And with all that being said, this has been another episode of The Watchable with me, Jean-Luc Welch. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to the show. Absolutely give yourself a big hand. We had a late surge coming in. We started at about 1 o'clock trying to get in with the likes of the Grand Arrivals. Went all the way to 4:14. Had a high of 12 people, and everybody started coming in after 3 o'clock. Hey, trust and believe, we don't care when you come. We just want you to come and be ready to have an exciting time out with us today. We can't wait to talk with you on Thursday. We'll probably discuss more about the fights and reactions of this past weekend's fights on that show. Also delving into a little more with the fights coming up. More stuff with Tank, more stuff with Crawford, more stuff with Bivol and Beterbiev, and so much more as the greatest card potentially in history happens this weekend. Can't wait to see it with you. I've been Jean-Luc Welch. Y'all have been wonderful. Peace and love. And we are out of here. Yes, indeed. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back on Thursday. We're going to start at 12 because I don't believe there's no arrivals or no stuff happening. Unless I'm wrong and they doing press conferences and all that stuff. And we'll start at 12 o'clock at that point in time. Like we normally do. Because we were trying to get in with the likes of the Grand Arrivals as they were happening. Gonna watch it while talking to you. You watch it while you're listening to me. All this stuff going about. Hey, it's gonna be phenomenal. And now, gonna start the same time. Gonna have more topics. Be ready. Get ready for your debates. Have your conversations. Bring the energy. Bring your fervor. Bring your coffee. And bring your friends. Subscribe to the channel if you ain't already. Leave a like on the stream before you go. Share this stream with everybody. It's going to be up on every podcasting platform imaginable. Probably today or tomorrow. So you can rewatch and listen to it again. And hey, thank y'all so much for tuning in. It's been so much of a joy. And I will see you all next time. Peace and love. We out.